Welcome back, everybody, as we take a look at some of the stats from that last game. And we can see, I mean, Empty Dreams, even though he was super active in the feed and sort of dominating this game early, OCs still did that carry at work, man. Big damage, big soul allocation, big objective damage as well. So OCs, that cleanup in the end, right? You know, he kind of did create that inevitability in the game where, hey, even with Empty Dreams down, you try to chase a Geist and a Shiv out of the base and you get clapped back for it. So definitely a good sign for the team that they get that full court press from all the members, right? It's not just one player really having a carry performance. It takes the whole team to get this win. And frankly, you're going to need that whole team playing as well as they can to beat down Abrahams here in the money match.
Yeah, I mean, a testament to how farmed OCs was at the end. Not only did OCs take that 1-on-2 and make it look easy, but Surgery came in for, some attempt to finish off OCs and got his soul just ripped out of his body in about 0.2 seconds, where, Great Talent a little bit squishy and OCs all. For me is that as far as high damage being done for Spirit Holiday, Overseas was ridiculously active, just getting good barrel after good barrel. I mean, 28,000 on Holiday is no mean feat, especially given the fact that Overseas is working with a fraction of the farm of people like Empty Dreams over the course of the game.
Yeah, especially because, I mean, Holiday was unpicked for quite a while, right? Like, this is a character that was really out of the meta. I mean, I think it was, 1 or 2 picks last week, and it went pretty early in the draft this time. So maybe a signal of some of the changes to come and, people really valuing these pick heroes. You band away the Paradox, you get the Holiday for yourself. And, maybe this is a character we're going to see a little bit more of on this week's Night Shift.
Also, this is the eye test. I haven't looked specifically at the... I haven't looked specifically at the stats, but I feel like the first pick Abrams has not had a good win rate. I need to go into it, but off the eye test, the play of ban Billy, pick Abrams on first pick just hasn't felt very good, especially in EU. I don't know if it is the right way of going about it, because it just seems like you're giving up too much power to the other team with their first 2 picks, and as good as Abrams is, you're not necessarily getting enough in return. Like, I don't like the first pick strategy of people doing that.
I do think Psy had a solid game. Like, I think he actually, built into that curse surprisingly early. The net worth was strong, even though the laning phase wasn't, super ideal. It still went fine. So I see why people are prioing the Abrams, but I think you're right. Maybe it does put you in too weird of a spot in the draft. But I also think it's more than just that one issue in this last game, frankly. Like, I think there was a little bit of an outdraft by Leviathan overall, and I don't know that the Abrams first pick was the entirety of it, right? I think the Mo and Krill never really felt like it was super impactful, right? I guess there was 1 or 2 combos that felt like they made the difference, but a lot of the time it felt like, oh, this lack of mobility, the Mo is just kind of a punching bag for characters that have more than enough damage to spare on the Leviathan draft, right? Between Shiv and Geist and Mina, they're just running down Mo, and he's not able to exert the influence on the game that I think you might ordinarily like to as Mo. I mean, I guess it can look different when you're playing from ahead and the combos are just securing you kills and templing into objectives, but this game, it felt like that lack of mobility. Mo is a character that sort of feels weak in the way that you have so much roaming in the early game, even pre-ultimates. Mo feels like you just can't do that on Mo. It's like, what are you going to do? You just walk into the lane and scorn them and run away? Like, you really are a dedicated laner, and it just doesn't fit as well in the meta right now compared to the activity of somebody like a Holiday with just a few levels.
So we got a unique sub that I can report here. I just approved it from a comp ops end. So we have a rule here at Night Shift, is that if you lose a challenging match, you cannot sub in for the team on the money match. It's just, it goes against tournament function. But technically, EU and NA are separate tournaments, and Sanya Sniper's internet is down. He caught Ido disease. He is currently driving to a PC cafe around 30 minutes away, and we're not going to delay the show by 30 minutes. So instead, the Abrahams team, they've decided we're going to get a different sub. We're going to go across the pond, and it's going to be Pashi Pop subbing in for Sanya Sniper for map 1. I'm real curious to see this one, Jake.
This is goated. This is actually such a goated sub. I'm really curious to see how Pashi Pop does. I actually do think of all the roles to be played on high ping, farming carry might be the best, right? Because honestly, a lot of your game is about surviving, having good farm patterns, showing up to the fight, and if you're really doing well as a carry, your sort of minor mechanical things shouldn't matter that much, right? You shouldn't have crucial spellcasting moments. You should just be ahead, showing up to the team fight, cleaning everybody up. Now, when things get a little more contested and you get dove, Yeah, that's where I think the ping's gonna hurt a little bit, but I'm really curious. I mean, Poshmark has looked phenomenal when he's been playing that farm carry role in NA recently, and so I think this is actually a pretty good sub for Abraham. Just curious to see how the ping plays out and how he matches up against somebody like Empty Dreams or OCs, who frankly just had huge games in that opener for Leviathan.
I think we're going to get some of the advanced stats while we're waiting for the draft to get underway. We had to settle the sub situation, so it's a little bit delayed. But the advanced stats here's the interesting part, Jake. Count the amount of cultist sacrifices picked up. Yeah, you got one on OCs, and you got one on Psy.
Literally 2 in the game. I mean, that's interesting, honestly. Like, you got to wonder for somebody like Abrams, like, I feel like Abrams probably doesn't need it. I don't mind it on Geist, I guess, because hey, like you are just like hard farming and it probably still is efficient. But man, I mean, this item, talk about falling off a cliff, right? From what was the average last night shift? Like 5+ per game. I mean, now it's just like it's just 2. So I'm excited. I think this opens up a lot of opportunity. You're gonna see more items coming out for the gun build, and we saw Empty Dreams. Mina would ordinarily in the last patch always have bought Cultist, most likely, and instead she gets the Spirit Shred. She's got a Toxic, right? So able to slot new items in and see a rise. A lot of these Spirit and Vitality builders just aren't bothering with the Cultist. It's just a waste of investment here. So definitely an exciting shift in the meta for now.
Also, while this is on the screen, can we just say that Lightbringer was right? At the start of this patch, people were saying, oh, it's gun meta. Everyone, it's gun meta. It's all about gun meta. Spirit, it's fallen to the wayside. I'm looking at both teams here, Jake. It's a lot of purple on your screen. Yeah. Is what I'm seeing.
Both teams have, like, I guess, Viscous is a gun carry pretty solidly. I mean, Geist, I say, is a gun carry. I think it's fair to say.
Yeah.
Although still getting the 4800 Spirit Spike, but there's only one player doing like the build that was kind of before this patch was pretty dominant in the meta of just all gun and a little bit of Vitality, right? Like that was for Warden, we saw it on Torment, we saw it on Viscous. Really came out in a lot of characters and looked like sort of a defining meta build. Only Viscous continuing to build that way in this game. I mean, there's some gun investment here and there, but it's far from dominant. I mean, I think you're right. I think like 9 out of 10 characters in this lobby have more Spirit or Vitality than they do gun.
Yep. And it's just interesting because people go back and forth on that. I mean, look, I've seen hyperbolic statements on the Discord of people going like, "Oh, I hate gun meta. Why are they got nerf gun?" And then you go to the DLM this week, you're like, I'm not seeing much gun with the exception of 2 heroes here. And obviously, I think NA prefers a little bit more orange in their diet, but it's just interesting to observe these trends and what people are truly valuing.
Yeah, it's always a treat really to get the professional players, get their input on like what looks good, what looks strong. Still seeing even a Metal Skin still bought on Shiv. Interesting. I bet that's an item that'll also fall off as people realize, hey, not that much gun being built. Maybe Shiv still wants it. The tanking is so valuable. But a lot of other items being built, a lot of superior stamina, still a top quality item. Spirit of Stamina, maybe one of the bigger winners. Look at Leviathan. I mean, they've got 4 superior stamina. So really investing in that mobility game to be able to bring the tempo. Also interesting to see Flammable go early refresher on page. As we take a look at the item prio, gun falling off a cliff. It's restorative shot and mystic shot, and these are like not really gun items. These are like value items you buy when you aren't really gonna go gun build, right? This is very Spirit heavy, meta in terms of the items being purchased.
Yeah, it's super interesting. And, for those wondering, hey, why are you seeing Stamina Mastery so heavily picked up, is that people have embraced the joy of instant air dashing, where, I mean, it's been known for a while that it's just generally better to do a close to the ground air dash than a normal dash in most situations, but people have kind of really attached to that in recent times, have, made more efficient ways of doing a quick off the ground air dash. And as it turns out, you have Stamina Mastery, you make that 30% quicker. So Stamina Mastery very much benefiting from, the embracing of this level of movement tech. But yeah, other than that, it's purple for a lot, and of course debuff remover, which has just been great for quite a while now.
Yeah, and Stamina Mastery, I think it's just such a simple item, but it's also one that just scales with your movement skill, right? The better you get at utilizing the fundamental dash and jumping mechanics of the game, the better this item becomes. So I expect to see this item continue to rise in popularity. I mean, top 4 is already a very impressive spot for it to be. I do believe, though, we're getting closer to being ready for the match. It's, of course, Abraham's taking on Leviathan here in the money match. It's a rematch from last week where Leviathan made things competitive. Now Leviathan have the full roster to put together. Abraham's forced into a sub here unexpectedly in game 1 due to Sonya losing that internet. So the stage is kind of set for Leviathan to make something happen, although with Pashipop coming in, I think this is going to be an exciting one for EU and NA fans alike, something for everybody to cheer for. I'm not sure if we have the draft ready yet, but if not, we can take a look at the Abraham's roster. I know for folks who've been watching week in, week out, you'll be old hands. The Abrahams, they've been in this money match over and over and over again, but for good reason. I mean, these are some of the best players in EU Deadlock, and so I think it's fair to give them a shout out here as we take a look at the Abraham's roster.
I have to say, as the roster gets pulled up, how brave is Pashipop to come on in here for Sanya Sniper, where it's like Sanya, but it is Pashi, because he's put himself in the no-win situation where if he wins, it's like, okay, Abraham's just that good. If they lose, it's going to turn into, hey, do you know the reason why Abraham's had their streak broken? Because they played with Pashipop. That's why they lost their win streak. Godspeed, Pashipop.
Pashipop is in the lineup, guys. You heard it here first. And honestly, I believe, and I respect Pashi for being willing to put himself out there, as you said, in that no-win scenario. But, I mean, just storied playmakers on this team. I feel like Hoot and Dmov are some of my favorite players to watch in the game right now. I mean, they both have huge hero pools. They both do, just wild stuff when it comes to playing these, like, action-packed, aggressive characters. You also got Taz, who's, like, I think probably since the beginning of Deadlock, you look at like the history, probably the best of the ganker initiator players consistently through every patch, right? Paradox, Holiday, Bebop. I mean, he's not limited to those characters, but those three, it's just like a work of art when Taz plays. And then you got Saint, who's insane on the support role, and together, probably the best pound for pound frontliner player, especially when you think about things like the Shiv and the Yamato, where he just consistently takes over games. So there's a reason this team has won time and time again. And, even with a sub with high ping coming in for them, like, I still think Abrahams have to be the odds-on favorite in this one.
The best part about Saint is that he embodies the support with a gun meme too, with some of his hero pool choices, where normally Saint is sitting here and is on a Kelvin or a Page, or just things that are more supportive. But then sometimes you have drafts where they go, actually, Saint, play Vindicta. And Saint goes off and just rips a monster game on Vindicta, with snipe after snipe. So Saint, a player of many talents. Saint also has a deadly Mo, who, granted, Mo does get picked up by support players a little bit more often than the norm. Like, he can be played as a playmaker, more supportive, but Saint really is, to me, the glue that makes a lot of things happen here in Abraham's. And then, for me, in terms of hero potential, just Dmov is the playmaker of EU. And, as I mentioned, just very much in contest for arguably best Deadlock player in the world right now.
Yeah, and honestly, I think I like what you said about Mo being played as a support. I feel like I like it more in that role. I feel like you just aren't an initiator playmaker realistically at this level of play. Like, starting with combo as the first catch skill feels like it's just so hard to get there. Maybe when you get to late game and you're like Phantom Strike, you could do that, but that you're asking so much to get to that point in the game, and at that point it's just like a different game in the ultra late game where sort of every character starts to transcend the limits of like what role they're in. But I do think Mo as a support, where you have like a lasso or a swap into a combo, now that feels a lot more consistent, a lot more effective. And I also like when Mo is building like the knockdown, some of the catch items. I feel like there's some natural synergy with that in the way you want to play the character and sort of be that annoyance who's just a little bit hard to pick off, hard to deal with. So I would love to see Saint play the Mo. I suspect maybe they'll go a little bit more in the active direction of the support, where Paige and even Kelvin, to me, still looks pretty good.
All right, I think draft may be ready, so we'll see what Abrahams is going to go for here. And the big thing to note is that with the urn changes, you had the change to Doorman, where you cannot bring the urn through doors anymore. Abrahams was the team that was absolutely picking Doorman under any situation in EU. We'll see if that has changed in priority. It certainly changed in our first game. But ban's coming out, and they immediately say to Leviathan, no, you will not be getting an early Page pick in this game.
I actually love the Page first ban here for Abrahams, because it's like you're never going to first pick Page for Abrahams. They're not banning themselves out in any way here. But one of the scariest second pick combos is like, you get one of the frontliners, I get one of the frontliners plus Page. And honestly, you feel really good being second pick in that scenario. So I think by banning out the Page here, it's like, there's going to be powerful second picks for Leviathan, no doubt. But one of the best is that Page +1, and taking away that option, I think, does mitigate some of the advantage for the second pick, which it seems pretty clear to me that teams want second pick right now. If you have the choice, you'd rather be able to get that, two powerful picks. There's not that one dominating hero. So Abrams still proud over the Billy for Abrahams. But there is a Billy open. You could go with like a Billy Shiv if you want it for Leviathan.
Yeah, I think you, in a way, I think you almost go, Billy Shiv. It's interesting, though, because you go Billy Shiv, you do get a really good front line, but you are almost certainly going to be giving up the Mina Abrahams, and you loved playing that last game as Empty Dreams.
I would actually like them to get Mina here. I think you're right.
Yeah, on the same note, though, giving up the Billy...
Yeah, Billy Abrams is scary. It's all scary.
I think... Ooh, by
but
not
then you can't
banning
give
the Billy,
Shiv
this
to
is
Abrahams. You can't give together Shiv. That's like one of the iron rules of DLNS against Abrahams is you cannot let together play Shiv.
Oh, they did it.
Go with the Mina. I like this. I mean, I think Empty Dreams, you just had a banger game. You just crushed the match. Let him just keep that rolling. Like, yes, draft issues, maybe. Yeah, Billy can be a scary hero. Like, that's true. It's not unbeatable by any stretch of the imagination. You know, Shiv can go, like, rebuttal this game and, be pretty annoying for somebody like Billy to have to worry about the parries coming in over and over and over again. Abraham's still going to snatch it up, but I actually agree with you. I think this is the right move for Leviathan. Keep the top meta heroes stable for your players. Let them just play the same characters over and over again. That just plays towards their consistency and stability for what could be a punishing best of 3.
I think Abrahams steal Holiday. I actually like the Holiday overpick if they go for it here. And okay, Viscous also still really, really good.
Hoot is crazy on the Viscous, honestly. Or maybe it'll be Pashi Pop? I actually don't know. I think this sort of is the Pashi Pop hero in Do
you want to play Viscous on ping, though? I feel like you don't want to play Viscous on ping.
That's true. That is true, actually. You make a fair point there. Although, I don't know that there's room for like 2 side lane farming carries. So Pashpot might just end up on something completely different. Leviathan snap up the pocket for themselves here, which I actually love. Not only does this block pick in terms of, the Affliction countering Shiv and to some extent, but also against Billy Abrams, like, it's one of the few characters that can put meaningful damage on these frontliners that then you could follow up on. Same for Viscous, where yeah, Viscous does crazy gun damage in the late game, but he is really not tanky, and something like Affliction can be super annoying for you. I guess, then again, Viscous is probably going to max cube pretty early on this build, and maybe then Affliction isn't so much of a problem for you.
Abrahams, I think, needs to ban Holiday. Leviathan is 100% going to take it. You have to realize you're not going to get it on task no matter what. I don't think you give Holiday over, but instead they take out Lash.
Wait, you're serious?
That's interesting because I think they could have picked Lash themselves and actually would have went really well with the Abrahams comp. I think
they're more scared of the Lash because you have Billy Abrams. These are characters that like need to have range control, right? So I feel like if you have Lash in this comp for Leviathan, it's like, who the hell are you catching for Abrahams? Like, you go on the Shiv and then there's like 10 characters in the sky just dumping down on you. And Leviathan are going to follow that same theme with the Vindicta pick. So they really want to dominate the sky here, play that high ground from range. And I think with Pocket and Mina, it's like, there's not so many options for Abrahams now for like highly mobile characters who pick people out of the sky. I would love to see a Taz and Bebop game here. That's a wild call, but I feel like this is the game for it. And big.
Okay, that is the GOAT call right there. That is actually, I was thinking, okay, maybe you just pick up the Holiday at this point. You're good. But you're right. I think they saw the Vindicta. They saw the Vindicta and says, no, let's rip her out of the sky with Extreme Prejudice. So yeah, we got our task hero locked on in. Also, could you grab the Holiday too? They decide no. They go for the Mo.
I love the Mo as well. Yeah. This is so we talk about this, right? Saint on the support Mo. I think this feels way better in terms of the impact Mo can have when Mo is now the secondary, the follow-up to a Bebop hook, or even to like Viscous catching with punch, to Billy pulling in with chain, to Abrams finding something. Like Mo is there to lock those kills down and guarantee them, get the follow-up in. But also, you're not having to start things out first as the Mo to get that initial catch. Leviathan have insane mobility, I will say, on the comp overall, so there's a ton of pressure right now, especially on Taz on Bebop to be hitting tons and tons of hooks. I'm also really curious to see what build Taz goes. I feel like given the shift towards Spirit we saw in Game 1, I'd expect to see a Spirit build on Bebop this game.
Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't surprise me. Also, I think the other good thing about Mo, it didn't pan out last game, but the theory is still sound. If you're looking for ways to take down a Vindicta, the reality is that combo is one of the best tools in the game to do it. You just have to find your way to get in on the Mina and pick the right opportunity. Yes, Empty Dreams is able to shake the pressure coming in from Fearless Furies. I don't know if that's necessarily going to be the case against Saint. And dude, what's more? GT? GT's back.
Well, I gotta say, guys, we got some tragic news from production for the NA fans. Apparently, Sanya has made it to the PC Cafe in time, so he will be coming back in. Would have been a ton of fun to see Pashi come in for Abrahams, but of course, Abrahams, they're gonna try to play with the full lineup. And as you said, GT coming in, hey, maybe, I mean, this is a great GT game, actually, right? Like, another character who is phenomenal against an overabundance of highly mobile flyers. It's like your mobility is not going to be dodging those GT charged arrows. It's not going to be enough to get you away from the guided owl. And stunning people like Pocket, Vindicta, Mina when they're up in the skybox. Follow can come in from Bebop. Like, Abraham's is such a sick team because they don't follow the meta, they follow the draft. They're willing to just play different heroes, and it feels like they always end up with an outdraft, and I think this is another example of it. It's a highly unconventional draft, a ton of picks we haven't seen look good in a while, but I actually think this is a perfectly designed draft. I will say the Leviathan, the top end potential of their draft is like disgusting. If you get to like late game and everybody gets big farm, Leviathan I think will just crush this game. However, at this level of play, that scenario to me isn't the most realistic. In the end, like if you're winning fights in the mid game on Abrahams or taking mid bosses, we're not getting to a 40-minute match, and I think that's sort of the territory where Leviathan's comp becomes unstoppable, and they basically have 6 carries. I don't know that we ever get there, given how good of a team Abrahams are, and the draft they have is going to be pretty punishing in the early game to play against.
Jake, because maintaining the agenda is our top priority, we're going to shift things up here and say that for Abrahams, if they lose, we're going to go with the storyline that they would have won with Pashi. They should have kept Pashi in. That's how we're going to spin this. Should Leviathan disrupt them here in this game? But yeah, I mean, overall, the Abrahams comp, look, I think you should be terrified if you get Abrams and Billy in on the same team. I think the interesting thing, though, when I look at this is that Abrahams, I actually don't know if they love going super late game. With the comp that they have here is like, yes, your front line is scary, but I think eventually you do just kind of hate being against late game Shiv, late game Geist, and honestly, yeah, you could get DBs for Pocket, but you're still paying the Pocket tax there. Meanwhile, Mo and Krill kind of tails off towards late game. Bebop kind of tails off towards late game. GT is at his best in the early and mid game because towards the late game, everyone's gonna be buying Spirit Breaker on top of it, and or Spellbreaker rather, and yeah, it's overall. Abrahams, I mean, their comp is really scary, but I do think they want to win this on the earlier side between the two teams.
Still, of all the teams in the night shift, I feel like the Abrahams have been the team that's maybe the most willing to commit to early game tempo drafts. And I think that's actually a feature of their skill, of their confidence as a team, right? Because you might be a team that gets a little scared, like, oh, what if things go wrong? We might need some more late game heroes. Abraham's like, no, we're gonna win the early game. We're gonna tempo. We're gonna dominate, and then we're just gonna close things out. We don't necessarily need to build towards the late game. We're gonna end things early, and I think that is correct. And I think it's only really viable if you're a team that is that consistent and that stable at developing advantages. And so, one thing is, I guess a question that comes to my mind now is if you look at these drafts, is as we look at the laning phase. That's where I'm really curious to see how this one goes, because some of the laning combos here I think aren't as conventional as we would see. Like, I guess Grey Talon feels like should be in the mid lane, maybe. I mean, it feels like that's where he's been good, where the Owl can easily go to both side lanes, been effective. But something like a Bebop, Viscous, I mean, I think these heroes are also pretty strong in the mid lane, so curious to see how the draft goes down. I will say, pretty confident we'll see Mo in a side lane and likely Abrams and Billy in side lanes as well. I think it's kind of like competing for that mid lane spot. But on the flip side, Leviathan, it's a little bit more awkward. I guess you could do like an Ivy and a Geist in the mid, but you have a lot of damage in the side lanes and not so much of like a frontline tanker.
I'm looking at the Abrahams lanes. I'm thinking it's probably like you stack your side lanes. I think Abrams and Billy are both going to be side lane. And personally, as I look at here, I do like the idea of running like Bebop Abrams just because it makes the penalty of getting hooked so much more of a pain. I mean, not that Billy can't also punish, but we've seen Billy Viscous a little bit more. So I would kind of run those as side lanes. And yeah, okay, you got Mo in middle. Like, one thing is going to be a little bit off here. Like, GT isn't going to get the same level of I don't know. I guess the problem is, do you run a weaker side lane for what Billy and Abrams like, or do you run a weaker mid lane? I don't really love the idea of running weaker mid lane, because if you run Mo GT middle, this is a lane that's going to be more of a survive and just don't lose the lane and maybe punish off GT, whereas if you run the GT with something like a Viscous, you can actually apply a ton of pressure in mid, and then maybe you just drop the Mo with something like Billy on the outside and just be like an annoying lane that you don't really want to go like into regardless. Because
I feel you need to put your strongest foot forward for Abrahams here in the mid lane, because Geist Ivy to me jumps out as the mid lane for Leviathan. I think this is one of the best lanes in the game, not because the kill threat, the damage is so overwhelming, but you just like your wave just dies in 1 second every single wave. Like, this is like not a playable lane to go against, because it literally doesn't matter what you do. You are never going to kill the creeps faster than Geist and Ivy. These are like two of the best AoE creep clearing skills in the entire game. And they're on a short enough cooldown where you're pretty much going to get them off every single wave. So I'd almost want to see like a Bebop in mid, because then at least a hook is like, you could do something with that kind of, you know, the other slamming waves on your tower over and over and over again. But it's pretty scary to walk up and siege the tower into a Bebop. Of all characters in Deadlock, probably like number one in terms of the like very early laning phase. You're like, I don't know that I want to shoot the tower too much at like 2 minutes in the game and, you know, get hooked to the walker by a Bebop.
What I'll say though is that I don't necessarily love GT and Bebop together in lane, just like how the dynamics that work there. I think the hard part about the Abraham's lane is that you got to send the Moe and Krill somewhere, and like no one necessarily loves being the Moe and Krill over the other options you have in the game. But let's say Moe and Krill goes with either Abrams or Billy. I think if you're playing middle in the way of like nuking, like, because that's what the lane GT likes. Like last game we saw GT, he was with Yamato. You get these high burst damage lanes. The most burst you can throw with GT is actually still Viscous. If you run like GT Viscous in lane, and then Viscous can still get pretty active across the map at 3 minutes. So like Viscous has pretty good roam power, GT sends owls, and then, you know, Moe is just chilling with either Billy or Abrams.
I'm not reading the chat right now, but if anyone is spamming caster start the game, I'll just let you know a little behind the scenes. We're waiting for one last player to get in lobby, so we're just chatting it up in the rosters as we wait to. We will start the game as soon as possible, as soon as we get that 12th player set and ready to roll. I'm also thinking about something like, I mean, the Vindicta versus GT matchup, like, there's honestly a lot to be said about. If GT like has a good enough lane and gets that 4800 spirit spike early, like, this is a shooting gallery of a game for great talent. I mean, yep. Vindicta, Pocket, and Mina are all, I think, amazing heroes to be hitting with power shots. Heroes that kind of want their HP to be full, so they have that little wiggle room if they do get jumped on. And they're also heroes that are very vulnerable. They usually play in the air and rely on just dodging skills, but it's just not that realistic against GT, right? Like, to dodge those incoming power shots, it doesn't seem to be that consistent to me. A good GT player just has a lot of window to punish. I'm also imagining some crazy team fight potential with like Billy chaining, pulling people in. Again, all these mobility characters, like, you get hooked by the Billy chain, you are in big trouble on pretty much any of these mobility characters. You pull deep, followed up by either a combo or like, you know, multiple stunts from all the different players that could bring it on Abrahams, from Abrams himself to Viscous to GT to Moe. This one is like so much pressure on the individual playmaking for Leviathan. But finally, we can stop yapping, ZP. It's what the people have been waiting for. We are ready to get into this game. It's Abrahams taking on Leviathan here in the DLNS EU money match.
You know what I imagined here? Sanya in his rush just enters the PC cafe, sits down, and the staff just kind of goes up to us like, sir, you have to pay. We need money in order for you to use this PC. What are you doing? And there is, you know, a financial transaction going down, and finally we get into the game. And we pause immediately as Sanya goes to probably edit settings because Sanya is at a PC cafe. But before we go any further, just want to say our prize pool right now is a base prize pool of $300 per region. But you can donate. You can change that. You can do with / donate. You can donate directly to the prize pool, and we'll read that out on stream. And that goes directly to our players, the winner from both NA and EU.
I will say, I'm happy for Abrahams they get the full roster. I mean, Leviathan played them close last week, and now we get to see both teams with the full roster, the lineup that they want to bring, like everything coming together for both squads, both playing at full potential. Like, that's the dream here in competitive Deadlock. And EU as of late has been really a very competitive region, with Leviathan starting to punch back up. I mean, it's been a while, frankly, for Abraham since they've had a true contender to the throne, right? And before it was Buff Enjoyers. But once that team split up, it was really uncontested for quite a while. A lot of 2-0 weeks back to back. So I'm really, you know, cheering for Leviathan. However, I tested the draft. Unique draft for Abrahams, not one that I would have been able to pick up myself, but like their skill in drafting, I think, has put them in a fantastic position to outplay.
Also, these lanes are not what I would have expected coming in. Normally GT goes middle, GT is not middle. We do get the Abrams Bebop lane, so there's like one thing we were right on as we were doing our speculation, but we got the Moe Viscous lane on the right-hand side. Of all the heroes I thought Viscous would have went with, I was not expecting it to be Moe. I thought it would be literally anyone but Moe.
I think this is like a throwaway lane. They're up against Pocket Mina. I think that's like an impossible lane. Maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like you're just like gonna lose the tower. Sonya's gonna like come back and farm. I mean, I'm trying to think how you ever play this lane. Like, I just feel like how does Mo ever hit Scorn on Pocket and Mina? I mean, you have so much mobility in these characters, and they're gonna hit you with so many spirit nukes for stepping up. Even Viscous, I think it's just this is a scary one for Viscous. Like maybe as Viscous here, you just don't mind and you're gonna play to recover. But yeah, I think maybe they don't know exactly what they're running up against. Maybe if they were up against Shiv, they would feel a lot better. I am worried though, as good, I mean, Bebop Abrams, I think is as good of a lane as you could run in mid, but I think Geist Ivy is going to be devastating. They are going to be chain nuking these waves, and it's going to be so awkward for Abrahams to play with no creeps.
Also, this is a reminder to all those in chat. Of course, all our viewers are in happy relationships. They're just the most attractive, most desirable people in the world. Valentine's Day is coming up, and that's why we got the Mina Pocket lane coming up on the right-hand side. The lore-approved lane, Jake.
Is this the lore? I'm unfamiliar.
It is
I mean,
the lore,
I guess
yes.
it tracks because the characters have like similar role. Oh, power shot and miss there. Nobikim sends a crow towards D-Mob, but look at this lane, man. Wave 1 is full crashing on tower that they were not able to damage the wave. That's a bad sign. Like, that's crazy that you don't even clear a creep on wave 1 before it gets to your tower.
Yeah, you know, you're giving the lane a little bit of respect to the power couple that could have been. So the deep lore on the Mina Pocket was that they were supposed to be married and Pocket disappeared. So Mina didn't get to marry into riches and fame and all that. So
Pocket would slip out on the day of the wedding. That is lore accurate for sure.
But either way, what I'm curious on, I mean, the middle lane, you know, wherever that lane was going to go is going to be scary. I mean, Bebop Abrams, that's just a lane where you make one mistake, either Abrams can positionally put you out of the way with a charge, and then you get hooked to Oblivion, or you get hooked and get charged to Oblivion. Deadly lane.
Yeah, I definitely wanted to see a lot of activity in. But I think, I mean, it's at least you have some counterplay, right, with the hook charge. That's going to really take some of the threat away from Geist and Ivy just perma-clearing waves, but the hook is very real, right? Mina, I think, going to be pretty happy to just get a ton of farm in the side lane. Pocket, pretty much same story, is now box is spawned. You already see a little bit of box routing going on for Mina. She's still focusing on keeping that wave pushed out, though.
So far, things a little bit on the quiet side. No kills just yet. People's HP, in fact, across all lanes, pretty healthy. So this has been a slower start to the game, but now that, you know, 2 minutes are in, the boxes are being crunched where they're now boxes. They're no longer presents. Your time to get your ornaments has passed. Valve took down the metaphorical Christmas tree much
Honestly,
earlier than probably most of the people in chat.
I like the boxes. I'm a box enjoyer. They fit better with the theme of the game. I'm a Grinch, maybe, but it's true.
Wait, Pocket was okay. There was lore updates I didn't see, and people are saying Pocket got shot before the wedding.
Okay, well, that's a good
Pocket just
excuse.
disappeared.
I mean, frankly, that is a very good excuse. Like, you know, that is one of the few ones. And who finds OCs? Must have been off the back of a hook here. Taz is healthy, man. He is looking for hooks. He's hunting for more. I mean, Stoneform on Ivy does make the Bebop bomb a lot less attractive. Wow, he's going in for that soul. Okay, all right. Ivy getting every last little drop she can out of this lane, but I mean, what I was saying was one of the best lanes in the game is starting to not look that way, right? The execution is just too good from Taz and the Bebop. We're gonna see more action here. It's out Taz. He's thinking about roaming into this lane. He's kind of hovering here between lanes, considering if he does want to gank the Shiv.
Also, you know, as you go for the boxes, you get a little bit of back and forth here. Ivy, you know, keeping tabs on Hoot. Oh, Mina now under a bit of pressure. Mo getting on in there, lands a scorn, and just gonna be empty dreams back and out, but you know, not the healthiest. Arake though would fix that right up.
Maybe I overstated the dominance of this lane because honestly, Mo and Viscous are making this one competitive.
It's looking better than it did on paper, where on paper it just felt like objective survive lane. That's where we're at originally is once more. Mo going in, not quite getting as big of a hit on the scorn this time around. And it's just kind of ridiculous because regenerate between Rake and just general HP. You know, Empty Dreams is at death's door a little bit ago now. Back up to a comfortable 450.
Yeah, Saint is actually playing this lane super well. I think Mo was the character I was worried about in this lane, just being able to deal with the pressure, but he's been finding the scorn, he's been keeping his HP high. I mean, Mo's a hero where once your HP starts to drop, you start being scared to even go for things. And then things go from bad to worse. Oh, Haku attempted big catch here, and it's exactly the target you wanted. Pin follow-up is good, but the parry went for the heavy melee. A risky gamble for the Abrams, who punished from this one, but I think Taz is more than happy to profit off that one. And oh, the bomb, I think that's going to be enough flammable. He's sticking, and boom. Another kill for Taz in the mid lane, and this could be a signature domination from Taz as he's going now, getting active in a fight over the buffs. Billy won that one. Just got a chain. It's around the corner. Does he get it? Ooh, one needs a little bit of a link here on the bin.
Chain breaks, but may not be. Okay, Obakim just barely able to get the flight off and evac, but the pressure from Abrahams over the last minute has been unrelenting.
Ow.
Every lane. And wait, the Owl's chasing down Vindicta. Obakim low, but he's gonna have to go back to base. And okay, you got Freemok coming back in, but now Freemok, you know, how much of an HP tax is Freemok gonna have to pay here? Stuck solo in lane against what has been a absolutely brutal GT Billy lane so far, and Sanya is not enjoying the remote experience. Is what we're getting here.
Yeah,
the PC Cafe.
DC from the Viscous for now. To see, hopefully we'll be able to rejoin back into this one. I mean, the lane's been pretty fine for them. Empty Dreams has still been getting that farm, but you feel the overwhelming pressure from Abrahams. I mean, I think the dominance of the mid lane is going to start to punish other side lanes. I think Taz and Hoot are probably going to wait for that, because the one down, the one up, I mean, this is the kind of the strength of the Leviathan mid lane, is if you ever leave this lane, it is so hard to solo lane into this because your creeps just die instantly against Ivy Geist. So I expect to see Abrams and Bebop maybe be a little bit more hesitant to roam and get active. But as I say that, Hoot is coming down the side lane to try to challenge Pocket and Mina. And I guess Abrams rather, is probably one of the better characters in the early game to get on top of those heroes, to force things like bats and to cloak away from the Pocket. And hey, maybe even turn that into a tower siege with Sonya's gun damage.
Yeah, next few minutes going to be super interesting. Of course, for those wondering, it's like, why is Sanya having difficulties? Kind of restate the story is Sanya's internet went out. So Sanya had to go to a nondescript internet cafe, and, sometimes you get a little bit of problems with your PC, as it turns out. That's why we're going to have the Poshy Pop sub, but, Sanya got here in time, but still a little bit of difficulties. Overall, though, as you look at this, I still go back to the win conditions here, where based on the team comps, I would expect Abrahams to have a better early to mid game here, based off the composition. I think Leviathan is playing a little bit more on the survive end. I think, win cons for Leviathan, you want both Empty Dreams and Freemok to get big. You want OCs to kind of turn into the Geist that he did at the end of last game, where Geist, of course, gets pretty fearsome when you have a good amount of farm. But you're trying to get a lot of your farm in on the OCs, Empty Dreams, and Freemok, and then, for Obakim, you're hoping, some of that gets made up with Assassinates. It's interesting because it means when you look at this for Leviathan, normally when Ivy gets played in modern Deadlock, Ivy is played as hard gun carry. I don't think Flammable is going gun carry in this game. But we'll see what the itemization ends up being, but I highly doubt that Flammable is going to be going the more traditional Ivy gun carry that we've seen from Ivy for the last few months. It's going to be more of a support Ivy, which you have to go really far back in the past, Jake, to see a time when Ivy has been more on the support end. But when I look at who needs to absorb farm on Leviathan, there's no other explanation for the role that Flammable is going to be taking in this game.
All right, we are going to see a ready up now. Abraham's back into this one. Sonya able to reconnect. So continuance of the action here on the night shift. Together also had a very solid early game here, up to the 4K sold mark. Billy's another one of those characters who probably would have always bought Cultist before, but now probably will do something else, right? Like probably going to go a different direction, and it's going to be one of those characters that has a little bit more openness. Nox Nostra hitting almost completely onto the Viscous. He is disrespecting this completely and has to just ball to try and get out, but it's a little bit of an awkward one. If one more proc would be enough, he's going to be able to get in. The reload is not there. Sonya is very lucky to get out of that one alive.
That was on a knife's edge. Just one more shot, 38 HP. It was actually less than that before. It's probably closer to 20 HP that Sanya gets out from that one, but a little bit of breather in lane until Sanya gets back, as things get a little bit hot and heavy here on the left-hand side.
Yeah, no kill off the first combo. Definitely hurts. It's something you would have loved to be able to find in this lane, especially against elusive characters like Mina and Pocket. They don't really have that much tankiness. Massive pressure now from GT in the sky. Snipes coming in onto Billy. Can Obi find the next connection? Doesn't seem that he can. I don't think you're going to be able to push forward. And oh man, GT is just putting in damage. Should have rapid recharge on the next return to the shop. And I feel like this is a big power spike for Great Town in the early game. If you're in the lead, you get rapid recharge, get the 4.8k spirit investment. So much of your damage already comes from the power shot. It's just an ideal situation.
Dimov has his pick of the game now on who he wants to kill. GT ult's going to be back up in just a moment. And he can just slam it on the Obakim and maybe get a kill with his Billy. Or he can send in the middle and help middle lane because, frankly, he's dominating in on the left. This is a very difficult matchup for Obakim. As you look at the HP, Obakim's HP just took a massive dive, undoubtedly from a power shot.
Yeah, Billy's getting active here together on the side lane, in super deep onto the Shiv now in terms of brawl. Both teams playing at the low ground, playing close. Shiv, oh, beautiful parry here on the corner. The bird comes in though, and that's going to be enough support, I think, to send Shiv packing Shiv. The bloodletting is going to be enough to get this kill. And the assist from Dimov secures that one for together. So off to a very nice start. Obakim on the high ground though is going to be a pretty scary one to chase, and together thinks better of that for now.
Also, this Viscous Mo lane that we were dying a little bit, actually looking pretty good. Overseas ends up getting caught as the tower pressure is big, but knocks Nostra in over the top. Is this something that you can really dive on as me? And once more, you're looking for this. Surely, no, Sanya gets away with it again, Jake.
No
that is
way.
Criminal. Deja vu.
On literally no HP. He's like 1 bullet of HP 2 times in a row. Empty Green would love to be able to find those kills, but Shiv has come back to this lane and together on low HP just did not respect the threat of a full HP respawning Shiv. See that rebuttal.
I don't know what Empty Dreams just said there, Jake, but it feels like Russian for bullshit with how Sanya was able to get away twice.
Yeah, you know, you gotta call that one out 2 times in a row, man. That's painful. We'll see if Empty Dreams can mentally recover from this. Game's still playable, very competitive, but 6k lead for Abrahams. I mean, this is about as good of a start as you could find here in the early game without finding major objective stakes. Mina, a counter kill here would be very huge, but once again, it seems like Hoot is going to be this time the one escaping on super low HP. Ultimates are low for the chase. Mina using every trick in the movement book here to try and get away, but the damage is starting to pour in. Yeah, and Viscous hunts her down. Punish.
And I mean, Viscous in full orange build is one of the things that can actually make Mina blink early on. It's a lot of damage. It doesn't really care where Mina is positioned on the map. And wait, Paul Punch could have led to an opportunity as this right-hand lane, again, the lane that we thought was going to be a little bit more difficult, handled relatively well by the Viscous Mo combo. Sanya, doesn't matter if he's off on Internet Cafe, you know, last second escapes and big plays here so far.
Yeah, I like this Viscous build too. Has that gun spike, now looking to get towards the vitality spike to stay active and to really participate in these fights. Oh, and a beautiful stun that cancels the Ivy ult. She's trying to cast that fly to get out of there. Hook just barely goes wide. Taz thinking about lasering this. Gonna send the creep around the corner. There's Owl coming as well. Every manner of projectile coming after Flammable. And a beautiful stun catch from Hoot leads to the kill.
Abrahams starting to get a pretty nice lead here. Hosies falling towards the end. 51k for Abrahams as they look to translate this to more objective damage. Debuff once more. Okay, the bear on the Vindicta. You look at Hoot. Hoot
4 knives.
They pay a price here. He's ticking down. Wait, the Abrams regen. Nope, not enough. Free mock does finish it off.
I mean, 4 knives is a crazy DPS. So you are able to find that nice counter kill. It's gonna be a longer respawn for Hoot. The advantage is so real. I mean, Abraham's willing to press in towards the enemy jungle. I mean, basically between the 2 walkers at 10 minutes. It kind of speaks for itself. It will be a comeback earn here, but an attempt maybe to disrupt it. So difficult to disrupt though. GT's trying to come in, look for some counter kills. An immediate aggressive affliction here. Overseas doesn't back down and gets that affliction on GT. Do they have the follow-up damage? I think Dimov played out to the high ground. Maybe is going to be okay for now, but Shiv still hunting that one. Wants to be able to find some finishing kills here. They really want this kill, but yeah, affliction has ended and there's players coming. Taz looking for a counter hook. Sanya as well. They're trying to find some catches and they have combo to follow this one up as well. So Leviathan recognize they can't stay and fight.
And lucky for Leviathan, they do pull like out of that engagement at just the right time. I think if they stay for even just another second, that turns into just one of those very unfortunate overchases that is an absolute disaster. So, you know, for the spot in the game they're in, I mean, make no mistake, you're in a rough spot. All 3 Guardians still up for Abrahams. Leviathan, meanwhile, you know, just absolutely decimated on objectives so far. It could still be worse, especially if you go from the idea that Leviathan is the one that needs to make the late game. And okay, in onto Sinners. Contest coming up here as Leviathan is invading.
It's a sneaky little contest from Shiv, but will he be able to stick around much longer? And this takes a big dose of damage there from the Bebop bomb. He's sticking around thinking about this one. Vindictus here as well. They're trying to assist for some more kills, but I mean, Taz is tanky on this Bebop. He's willing to mix it up and take this fight. As more players come, yeah, it's going to be a back out from Shiv.
Need to plan this out.
And Pocket, meanwhile, uses that pressure in space to claim the mid Guardian. So a little bit of a win here for Leviathan in the early game. Ult to the face does hurt. Oh, just barely goes wide.
That was actually really close to Overseas biting the dust there. Off the bird, if the hook was just a little bit earlier, Overseas is dead. So that was way more perilous than you would ever expect from a Pocket with all his cooldowns up, at a relatively uncontested lane at the time. Mina, meanwhile, been dealing a lot of this. Mo in her face, regardless of circumstance, and quite a bit of damage coming in turret too, as Dimov in off the backside. Tass trying to make the Hyper Beam count, and the one thing that Empty Dream is happy about, there is no bird hanging their way because it was just used.
Flammable in the small room, doesn't have the chance to get the ultimate off. Caught and bursted. And the activity from Taz has been at an all-time high this game. Has the Majestic Leap. That's a big buy here on the Bebop, right? It allows you to dive in for these chases to get a really enviable position in terms of popping that ultimate. And one thing you're really missing on Leviathan is, like, there's not really a stun for the Bebop ulti. I mean, in theory, you could, like, fly up on Ivy and stone form him, but that is asking a lot. So there's going to be a lot of uncontested full charge lasers from Taz. And on this Bebop Spirit build, man, when you start maxing out the laser, it hurts in the team fight. And for Leviathan, it's like another really powerful moment where, yeah, you have these mobile characters. The Bebop laser, you just have to hide. You just have to run. And that often is going to lead to people being caught out by Mo or Billy.
Yeah, I mean, Abrahams is carefully crafting a bit of chaos with their comp, which, again, kind of what you would have expected in off the draft. Also, we need a cultist sacrifice check based on recent changes. If we can hit tab and see how many people are in the cult. I think the cult has never had such a decimation of numbers since the last time they drank the Kool-Aid. But okay, up into the subway.
Oh, Shiv is getting
Remok
smoked.
in some real danger and decides he can't take the TP, but there's nowhere to go but death.
Yeah, that's a big one, and wow. Aura bought by Billy. That's an interesting buy. I mean, this I guess it makes sense. It's like a powerful team item. But this is an item we really haven't seen built too much. I actually kind of like it for together this game.
I think it's undervalued. I think when you look at Heroic Aura, it is a good item. It has always been a good item, and yeah, I think just has been overshadowed. But Hook comes in!
No ulti. OC's in real trouble right now. The punch, oh, great escape from OC's. I believe he had to parry that puddle punch to get out. Ooh, bats are not ideal for Mina, but maybe they've done. Oh, Billy catches though. Chain is good. With no bats, only the debuff remover, it's just not going to be enough. The damage is there. The follow-up is good. And now a Walker Siege begins, and you have combo behind this. The other side of the map, Leviathan are going to take what they can get, but what they can get, it seems to be, is a Guardian. I mean, a Guardian for Walker trade is not ideal at this moment in the game.
I'm no chess player, Jake, but that seems like a pawn for a rook.
Yeah, they're going to keep going. They're going to keep going. I think we're going to see a huge team fight. If Abrahams go back, oh, they actually might give up the Walker for this. I'm a little surprised. Oh, no, they're teleporting in. They're going to try and catch people on the retreat. Leviathan, they're going to get the Walker for this, but they're trying to just get out of trouble at the same time. They're leaving Ivy to finish this one objective off, trusting that she can play with better. Oh, Abrams go for the mid-boss force. Oh, my God. This is a classic Abrams call. The YOLO mid-boss force. And I don't know that they're going to be ready for this.
They can't get there. They actually cannot get there in time. This is going to be 3 rejuves coming in from Abrahams. Like, that completely caught Leviathan off guard. And I was wondering about, Jake, because you look at the rotation that Abrahams was just set up for here, and you go, well, surely there's no way they get to the Walker time, but everyone's moving towards the center of the map, and it just ends up being one of the earliest mid-bosses we've seen in quite a while.
That's the dream scenario, and Abraham's probably the best team in the game at recognizing these niche opportunities to get a mid-boss. Oh, you thought you were running the urn. No, you are not, Obakim. That Snipe Max Vindicta build, it's good for some things. It is not good for surviving a combo. And now, wisely, Abraham's, even with the rejuves, they're going to back off. I think this is a good call. Get the urn, get out of there, right? It's an even urn. It's not a favorite urn, so you feel really good with your advantage at this point in the game and just getting a free dunk.
You know, I see turnovers like that. I'm still a little bit traumatized from the weekend. I thought Vindicta was CJ Stroud for a moment. That's what I thought. But the urn has been recovered by Abrahams. And, you know, again, this is just a quick dunk turn-in. Is there going to be anyone that just goes and
I don't think you can stop this.
Abrams? I don't think
You're
so.
just dying for this. There's like a GT bird flying in. You got a freaking AC 130 supporting this urn turn in, man. You got to just take that one up. Obicam just taking every single bird to the face. I mean, this is the cost of doing business on Vindicta, but it's why GT, it feels so good in this matchup. Even if you're just throwing in a scouting bird, it's like, why not? Why not get that extra damage? Tangle Retreat used, no bats. There could be a dive coming in, a big puddle punch. Very nice catch from Sonya Sniper, and that's going to secure the kill.
He's lagging, by the way, Jake. Don't forget, that was the translation. That was sent to us. He said he was lagging after he had those escapes. Well, lagging or not, the puddle punch is on point, and the space being created right now. Forget the space! It just melts Obicam's face right off!
Who finds the opportunity, and I mean, that Hunter's aura in a 1v1 is deadly. Here's a combo, laser beam on top, over the mid Guardian. Abraham's just attacking on all fronts right now. Taz takes a bit of counter pressure though, has to cancel the laser and just run for the hills. Are they gonna chase this? Okay, wait, they get some more connections. Taz on literal 1 HP. He's 1 HP in the corner and does lose a rejuve, but OC's is very deep for this one, and they're being surrounded now by Abraham's players. Leviathan, they have to get out of this one. They have to try and retreat. No rejuves left. Surely, though, you can't stick around and fight against the healthy and wealthy Abraham's team.
This game has just quickly gotten out of hand after the mid-boss call. Okay, Yosenya, he's lagging. He's lagging. Don't forget. One cultist has been seen. The cult not fully dead, but this hoot quickly devours
for Abrams here. Oh, Phantom Strike. This is oh man, like I do not envy the Flyers now on Leviathan. This is not even something I was thinking about in the draft, right? But Phantom Strike, not only does it teleport you to the opponent, but it also knocks them straight to the ground. And what an annoying thing to have happen against Vindicta. And let me tell you, there's no unstoppable coming out from Vindicta this game, man. Like, Abrams is way too far ahead of the game. 22k for Hoot right now. I mean, he's equal with Sonya, who's hard farming on Viscous. Like, Hoot is rushing here right now, and Abrams really defending that first pick prio.
Owl?
Whoa, what is going on here? All right.
Scouting owl, effectively.
No, I mean the walls. The walls are invisible. So the wall hacking bird.
Well, as I look at this here, the other thing too with the Phantom Strike, it's not just Vindicta, it's also Empty Dreams. I mean, honestly, running afoul of many a puddle punch, but now you have to worry about Hoot just simply teleporting on top of you and sending you to your doom. So a lot of really tricky situations that Leviathan now have to work around while being 20,000 souls down. I would say for me, Jake, the last chance to make something happen for Leviathan is going to be the urn turn in 1 minute. I don't know though what they really have to contest the urn pickup. That's the problem. It's like, yeah, it's gonna go their territory, but I feel like if you have to go in the enemy territory for the urn, it's easier to turn in now.
Definitely, right? You just have to get there for 1 second to dunk it. Here comes Mo with the combo. Catches Geist in the corner. Do they have enough damage? Oh, whoa, she's in the wall. Okay, she's actually gonna be able to get the swap off now if she wants it. But I think swapping that Mo is actually a good choice to hold off on that, because I think Mo would have just gotten out, and the tanks the bird to the face as well. I think just barely over the execute threshold. And Geist has a really good hold of the ultimate, right? That's going to enable OCs to stay active and actually be more effective coming into the next team fight. Hoot, meanwhile, very low on the Abrams. This is developing into something potentially promising for Leviathan, but they've taken a bit of damage themselves.
Can't say enough good things about the self-control for OCs to not just go, I'm in danger, soul swap. Most of your players in this game, they're hitting swap there. OCs...
That's a very high-level play, actually, to hold that. Because Geist, without swap, you just get int on her, right? Like, you're not that scared of her. But the threat of swap means you need to be a lot more careful in terms of how you approach that fight. Urn control, though, still likely to go towards Abraham. Taz waiting for the pickup, just instantly grabbing it, and no meaningful contest here for Leviathan. They're going to be happy enough to grab... They got at least one buff. I assume they only get one, right? If the Abraham was being on this side of the map, I would assume Empty Dreams was like snag both buffs. But movement is a nice buff for some of these highly mobile flanker characters like Pocket and Mina.
This is tricky for Leviathan. I don't really think they're in a position to go for a trade, so they do have to fight for the urn. But someone's gonna have to go to engage this Bebop sooner rather than later. He's just close to the dunk spot here and now.
Still scary though. It's the roof control is gonna be everything right now. And I think that's where you're happy to fight a beautiful connection. The combo is good, but Mina just has enough tankiness combined with the debuff remover to play her way out of this one. And the Sanguine pulls her back. Combo force. Here comes Taz, mixing it up here in the close range. But fighting a Shiv is a pretty tough task.
Urn got dropped. Leviathan picked up mid-roll. Obicam's able to get the turn in. They get the turn in midway through after forcing Taz to drop. And Abraham's, they're running with low HP here. Saint's low. Together's low. Can you get a little bit of cleanup here for Obicam? Not quite in the middle position, but the rest of Leviathan still fighting. And of course, Freemock more than willing to clean stuff up if it runs his way. So
This hunt.
really nice earn defense out of Leviathan here, Jake. It keeps him in the game.
Yeah, overconfidence, I think, from Taz to step up into that room. And, you know, that's also the other change when they earn, right, is the quick melee. Just a quick melee, and you drop that earn, so you can't be so confident coming around a corner into enemy territory. Fremont was ready and waiting, punished that Bebop. And, I mean, Bebop's build is, like, more or less all damage. He has the Vitality, you know, investment at 4,800, but no meaningful tankiness other than that. Oh, and here comes Mina, immediately caught. Sanguine used on her. She's just falling back, running out of this one. I don't know that there is going to be follow-up. Sonya maybe on the case, but feels like a bridge too far for him.
Even with the Phantom Strike, Empty Dreams proving remarkably elusive here so far. I mean, you stop and think about it. Empty Dreams being able to get out of that combo near Earn was what was the key point that let things turn around. But can Fremont get out of the combo? Gets here the combo, curse thereafter. Sanya in from the back. The puddle damage is massive. And now looking for the chase down here on the Flammable. Flammable low HP, but gets hit with the spicy goo. All orange all the time from Sanya.
Yeah, I mean, Viscous at this farm level is so sick. Sanya comes in over the top from the roof. The back flank is beautiful, and mid-boss is up. I mean, you got a few low players. And, oh, a catch on a Bebop would be a nice profit there, and Overseas gonna pick this one up. Does have the Cultist. Playing that farm game, and that mobility buff in the last seconds of its life pays some dividends here.
Also, in terms of item prioritization, I may be wrong, but I don't think Abrahams has gotten any DBs here yet. I mean, Pocket's been a lower priority on the farm, so maybe they don't feel they need to get it, but Pocket's relevance pretty strong up until Abrahams decides to pay the Divine Barrier tax. So, you know, for Leviathan, where they were in a rough spot, Jake, they were down 20,000 macro objective-wise. You know, they didn't even have a single walker down, and they've kind of fought their way back to a part of near equivalence here. This is about as good as you could expect for being down the early mid-boss and down walkers as they were.
Very real threat, but finally the sync-up comes in. I mean, Empty Dreams has been dancing with death this game, as he sort of has to. The threat of a Phantom Strike Abrams forcing your Sanguine, but this time the follow-up is there, the coordination with Demov. And that Mina kill is a nice one. I mean, the mid-boss is open. I don't know that you want to go for it with just one kill, considering all the ultimates Leviathan have to threaten to contest, but the damage is very real right now from Sonya. And look at him just beaming down this mid-boss. Looks like they're going to really commit for it. The roar comes out, but they're staying in and looking to finish off this mid-boss.
You got to look to Overseas. This is where you need your Pocket to come in big, land a huge affliction if you can, to make this painful for Abrahams, even if they get more rejuves than you. But the rejuve is settling on down. Spirit Snare protecting it. Flammable over in on the airdrop. The combo out immediately. The rejuve up for grabs. Sanya takes down Overseas early. Rejuve charges all the way towards Abrahams. A clean sweep as Taz starts beaming him down.
Oh, and even the cube, it's going to keep Taz alive. Shiv would love to be able to get some executes. A couple kills here would make the world of difference defending your base. That's less rejuve crystals to worry about, but I just don't think he's going to be able to find it.
Jake.
A beautiful save from Sonya protects all three crystals. Abrahams cruising to a potential game 1 victory here. Empty Dreams off the respawn, trying to do what he can with the waves.
Look at Overseas. Overseas wasn't able to get affliction off. I think it was Saint that comboed Overseas. I need to see a replay, but I think Saint prevented any affliction from coming in there, which drastically changed it. Nox Nostra, making Sanya kind of fear the sky.
Viscous damage is really big here. You got to be careful about this. He does force the rejuve, but they're taking the base.
Shrines, by the way. Shrines, by the way, Jake.
I mean, that's a nice kill on the Viscous. I actually think it's good for Viscous to keep this wave push out to defend the Walker. Unfortunately, he does lose his life. That's an unlagging moment. And they're not going to be able to go for the patron drop with the respawns coming in for Leviathan. So some respect from Abrahams. They want to get a reset off. And in fairness, this is a fresh minions, right? No reason to force this too early. And no way that minions drop the matron. That would be unforgivable in a 6 players alive and you let the minions attack your throne.
Hey, look, we had minions finish off a game last week. The minions are up there being the true 7th man.
And I think this is going to be a free dunk, man. Like, what are you really going to do about this? Are you really going to come into enemy territory? And they do threaten the drop, but I still think this is inevitably going to go against you. Leviathan, they don't have the ultimates to fight this, but they're sticking around anyway. Here comes the laser from Taz, creating some zone control opportunity, and Saint senses his chance. He does die.
He got the melee.
Warpstone, I believe, from OCs gets the drop, but the dunk still comes in. Saint rips the combo before he dies. Draws a rejuve crystal back into this fight. Obakim now down. Mina doing what she can on the other side. Has to bring the damage, has to be able to find the kills. But there's still one last crystal still available together. Would love to consume that one here on the Bebop. Does get a cube at the last second, though. Sonya saying, you're not dead yet, brother. I won't let you fall. And they're still alive. They're still doing it to them with the crystal holding on. These buffs are valuable. Remember, Sonya doesn't have it, though. He's playing with death here. The dance with death, he's going to walk away from it for now. And a cleanup, it seems, onto OCs at the same time. Another
Also,
cube for together.
Jake, we got a $100 donation to the prize pool from Jajo37. Thank you so much, Jajo37. Goes directly to the players. As speaking of directly to the players, there's been a lot of damage from Abrahams directly into Leviathan. In off this last earn fight, still reaping the benefits of the one last rejuve. Patron is going down, and do you stay for more? Absolutely. Is the question for Abrahams right now. Viscous isn't going away, and may pay a penalty for it, but OCs falls to task. Nox Nostra coming out last line of defense while Leviathan waits for the respawns.
Great cube by Sonya before he got silenced from the Nox Nostra. Got that one off. He's going to tank most of the damage. Doesn't have the Vamper, so he's going to get sniped down now. Remember, he already consumed that rejuve, but you're still diving into the pit now, and the defense is just coming too little, too late. Hoot, big man on the server. Abrams in the pit, and he's cleaning this one up. Hoot saying that donation's coming to me, brother. Abrams, big win here in game one, and there were some moments of competitiveness, like Leviathan kept the game respectably close in some of those mid-game fights, but in the end, man, it's Abraham's confidence, not only to force that early mid-boss and get a huge advantage in the game, but then again in the late game to take a contested mid-boss and just a dominant fight for them in the pit, right? I think that was like a 5-0 kill trade in the pit there that pretty much seals the deal on Leviathan, and that's going to be a bitter pill to swallow coming into the rest of this series, especially considering Taz just put that work on you on Bebop in the mid lane.
Yeah, one of the things I want to see the GOAT combo in there to just completely shut down overseas, because the way that fight went was you need affliction, and if Saint actually got in there and comboed overseas, it's just the best reaction. But you talk about good reactions, Sanya might be lagging, but the skill was still there. It compensated in a hurry. He did that twice, just running away at low HP.
There's not even a pixel of health on his health bar in the top bar. Literally full black health bar. Crazy work here. Shiv struggled this game, man. The amount of pressure being put on by the opposing frontliners and Together and Hoot, all the backline damage being pumped in. I mean, yeah, the combo is one thing, but look at Taz's laser in this fight, just burning you up. You dare come to the pit, you just get cooked. And yeah, the combo comes in. The follow-up is beautiful from Hoot, and this has been the calling card from Abrahams every single game. They're dominant in these mid-boss fights, and that's Deadlock for you right now. If you're crushing every mid-boss fight, you'd be hard-pressed to lose a game.
Man, absolutely unreal play from Saint. But to me, if this were a one-map match, my MVP so far would be Sanya. Comes on in, lagging, playing in unfamiliar conditions, and puts on a ridiculous Viscous performance. I mean, we saw Empty Dreams, Jake, take over the last game. Empty Dreams looked incredible on the Mina. But Empty Dreams is going through a minefield of just outright Viscous left-click harass, puddle punches that got him killed multiple times. And I mean, it wasn't just on the Empty Dreams. It felt like Sanya was right place, right time at multiple ends. You think back to the earn drop-off spot where it's looking like a reasonable fight, and oh yeah, here comes Viscous from the back. Sanya just grabs two. Unreal presence from Sanya.
The cubes were sick too. Like, they held onto that rejuve for way longer than they had any business. I mean, Together was running in like he wanted to use the rejuve. He's like, yeah, I'm low HP. Let me just dive in, do some damage, pop the rejuve. And Sonya just keeps him alive with two clutch cubes that allow them to hold on to that crystal, let them play deeper and deeper into the fight, and ultimately close out the game from there. So incredible performance from the entire team from Abrahams. A draft that only they could pull off. Hoot also got to call him out. Huge performance on Abrams. I mean, he's top net worth, like basically tied with Viscous, and he is fighting way more often. So big shout out to Hoot. You know, it's a massive game. And we were saying, like, maybe we're doubting this Abrams first pick. Like, how good is it really? Well, the way Hoot just played, it's like, man, you don't want to give him the Abrams again. I mean, he was such a problem for all your mobility players from the mid lane, and then much deeper, right? At every phase of the game, the Abrams is a huge problem in these fights. So incredible execution from all of Abrahams. Leviathan back to the drawing board, looking towards game 2.
Also, Jake, before we go to break, we got one last tip coming in from Caramella 00, dropping the £5 or 671 USD. That goes directly to the prize pool. Thank you, Caramella 00.
Yeah, I appreciate that. If you guys want to donate to support the prize pool, you can do ! Donate in the chat. You got the info there. When we come back, potentially the conclusion here of the best of 3 Abrahams, they'd love to finish this one 2-0, minimize Sanya's overhead budget here at the PC Club. Hopefully he'll be able to get this win done in 2. But Leviathan, I think they still have some fight in them. They showed in that last game, even when the odds are stacked against them, they can still bring out some clutch fights. They can still find those opportunities to get back in the game, even against a foe as strong as Abraham. So all that and more when we come back from a short break. Welcome back, Night Shifters. It's time to clock back in. If you're just joining us, this is Abraham's up 1-0 over Leviathan here in the money match for EU. And I mean, the kill score kind of speaks for itself here, ZP. 38-7, a beatdown from Abraham's. Doesn't tell the full story. I mean, Leviathan found a couple of impressively competitive moments and really did hold Abrams at bay for a while. But in the end, the weight of this net worth advantage was just too big. And a couple massive mid-boss fights back-to-back sealed the deal for Abrams.
Yeah, it was, I mean, Abraham's, once they got their advantage, they ran away with it, and that first mid-boss was a masterclass in just getting advantage. Even though Leviathan was able to fight it back, like, they brought it back to a winnable game, and, you know, a few fights later, things just start going awry. But, you know, this is our item check-in here, Jake, more than anything else from me, and once more, a little bit better for Cultist this time around, but I'm only seeing 3 right now. Correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe I'm missing something, but it looks like... Is
Together
it
Hoot, overseas and OCs.
Okay,
but I mean, regardless, it's a far cry from what we've seen for quite some time. Even pocket this game, I'm like, I wonder about the Cultists. Like, I think that I wonder if that really is a good buy, you know, in this particular game. Yeah, I guess it does provide some valuable stats that pocket does appreciate, but definitely seeing some interesting perspective. Oh wait, no, you're right. 3. I thought it was the heroic aura was a Cultist. It is only 3 together.
I'm getting gaslit.
I got baited by the heroic aura. I gaslit you. I was like, wait, why does that cultist look so weird?
Yeah, so, okay, 3 cultists. That makes more sense. Also, you know, talked about earlier when you just kind of back into the figuring this out based on who's getting farmed, but it was a full support Ivy game when you look at what Flammable was playing, or at least, okay, for support, more of a spirit Ivy game more than anything. It was kudzu based, you know, saying support maybe a little bit much, but it wasn't gun Ivy.
I think this is a support build. Like, it's just, you know, I think it shows that in Deadlock, what a support is not a purely passive, like, secondary role. You can still fight, you can still challenge and take engagements. You can play off things like Backstabber, Alkfire, you know, the Heal Bane, the Suppressor, right? Providing a lot of annoying debuffs on the opponent team. But then, of course, you have that Heal Nova with the Link that really buffs people up, allows them to survive through some damage. But in the end, not that much damage, right? You look at people like Sonya, Sniper, and Hoot, you are not taking through these guys the level of farm that they're at. You've got to be more competitive in terms of the farm level to be in this game. Saint, also Deathless, Saint and Demov as well. Deathless in this game. Huge performances. From Mo in particular, being Deathless is kind of a wild spot to be, right? Considering you do throw your body into the fray, you know, quite often. I think the only time he died was with a Rejuve Crystal.
I guess the question for me as I look at this is, you know, if you're Leviathan, what do you do differently draft-wise? Because I think about how it started. I think going Shiv Mina felt pretty good, but at the same note, giving up both Abrams and Billy feels a little bit bad. Like, yeah, you still have a reasonable front line with Shiv, Geist. I don't know if giving up both Abrams, Billy makes the most sense, but more than anything else, I think about what caused problems for them. I almost feel like if you could take away one part of Abraham's, based on how the game went gone, you'd probably want to take away the Viscous. I mean, Sanya really limited the impact of Empty Dreams in this game and was an omnipresent threat on Viscous, where I just feel like Orange Viscous has kind of unlocked the character to an extent here, Jake, where you're still getting most of his wild utility. Maybe it's, you know, you're getting a little bit less nuking power, but the less nuking power is more than compensated the fact that your gun just shreds. I mean, Viscous is unreal at the moment.
Yeah, it turns out you don't really need splatter if your left click does as much as a splatter. So it tends to work out in this build, especially once you get towards that Lucky Shot Glass Cannon. I also think the Bebop from Taz, incredibly well picked this game. I mean, Bebop is not really in the meta right now, is not picked very popularly, but who better to pilot it than Taz? It really defanged what should have been the strongest lane for Leviathan in Geist Ivy. That to me sounds like a crazy lane. I don't know how you're supposed to win that, and yet Abrams finds a way. It's the Abrams and the Bebop, and yeah, they can't win the creep trade, they can't clear the waves as fast, but they just hook you and kill you, and yeah, you're not going to be able to cast your skills from the grave. So an incredibly well played mid lane. I think that honestly, like, very few lanes in the game can actually play against that matchup because of the way they clear the creeps, but Abrams made it look easy. I assure you it's not. So, you know, that's a tough test for now for Leviathan. You kind of had something that you thought was textbook, really strong, and Abrams just diffused it through experience and skill in terms of reacting to those more uncomfortable matchups.
Also, I've got an important update from chat that's entirely truthful. The term is not being gaslit, it's being gas-lamped. Thank you so much. I will believe this, absolutely. Surely there's no nefarious intent or anything going on there.
I would never gas lamp you, ZP. I would never do that to you. That's, as everyone says, I would never gas lamp you.
Yes. But we're just waiting for the next draft to get underway, and the wait is over here, Jake. Abraham's once more going to be first pick, and if you're Abraham's with how well things went, you don't change a thing. It's on Leviathan to change the composition here and get something that works a little bit better in their favor.
I agree. I think Abraham's going to probably open that first ban page again. I don't see why you would do anything different, given that you were able to lock up that game 1 victory. Let's see those opportunity to make a change, but no, I mean, I really like this page opener. It's just with how good frontliners are, and yet there's kind of a lot of them, right? There's Shiv, there's Abrams, there's Billy, Yamato. I think is also pretty good, right? You have a lot of options on that. What you're really worried about as a first pick team is giving up that page +1 frontliner. And by banning it out, you don't have to worry about it. So I think this is a really intelligent approach to the first ban. Leviathan, this time they say, all right, who's the big dog on the server on the Abrams? You're not getting that. You're not getting that again. You got to show us something different. And I actually think this is a great way to sort of change up your draft. I mean, last time they banned Paradox, but it's not clear to me that Paradox would have been easier to deal with than Taz's Bebop in this particular game.
Here's a question. Do they go with Billy? Okay, they do go with Billy. So they're getting for Leviathan. Here's the question.
I think they should go Mina again. I liked it. I liked it. I think the challenging thing about a game like that where you get kind of blown out of the water is it feels like you have to change everything, but in reality, you need to just make small changes, right? If you change everything, you're just going to lose out of sheer like discomfort and uncertainty how to execute your comp. You need your strategy to still feel good. And you've done enough, I think, by banning Abrams to sort of set this draft on a different course already.
But you could go Viscous also. Because I think the Viscous did look really effective against Mina and clearly is just quite good in general at the moment. So that is the question. Do you go Mina again or do you go Viscous? And they go Viscous. So, okay.
That's a good call. Because I think Viscous also has a nice matchup into Billy where you can like puddle punch yourself away and create space against Billy pretty comfortably, which I think is nice. It also plays toward the late game, and maybe Empty Dreams is like, you know what? After that guy living on 2 HP 4 times and then coming out of the jungle at 20 minutes and just beaming us all down, maybe we want this. However, there's gonna be costs incurred, and this time it's gonna be the Taz Paradox, which is a fearsome foe. I mean, this guy, I think the best Paradox in the game right now, so insane with the swaps he's able to hit on this character, the opportunities he's able to create. So Viscous gonna have to do overtime in terms of cubing and saving.
They still might get Mina.
Fraught situations. I think Abraham's going to grab it here. Yeah, okay, they snap it. I think it would be a mistake to give up both Mina and Viscous because they're 2 characters that can actually very powerfully like hold the side lane alone without too much fear or risk, right? Viscous can punch himself away and then, use the roll if he really needs to. Mina, of course, naturally with Sanguine is going to be great at escaping and she has some good wave clearing tools. So I think Abraham's happy to grab the Mina this time. Getting the pocket is a great block pick as well. It fits in really well with your draft, and since you've already taken the Viscous, you take away one of the better sort of counter characters in terms of the cube masks.
Here's what I think. I think the reason why Abraham's, I was wondering if they'd pick Mina or not, is that if you go Mina, you expose the Yamato. And yeah, the Yamato ban comes in. So that's the interesting part here because they're a little bit lesser on frontline here too, if you think about it. Because before they were really tanky, you have both the Abrams, Billy, and you have Yamato. Normally, Abraham's likes keeping, a stronger frontline. But the Abrams, of course, isn't available because he gets banned early, and Leviathan goes, okay, you're going to take the Mina, but the cost you pay for that is you give up the Yamato. Abraham's takes away the Vindicta, so probably means to me Leviathan goes Holiday here. This is where they picked Holiday before when Vindicta was banned. I don't see a reason to deviate from that. They still need a playmaker, and the Holiday play worked incredibly well for them back in map 1.
I sort of hope Abraham's goes Mo and Krill here. I think the Holiday is a great call. I think it fits really well with Leviathan's draft, but I think this could be another great game for Saint on the Mo. You have the Paradox swap to set up combos, and although Cube in the past has been looked at as like a really good counter to Mo Krill, you cube people to save them from combo, I think Mo actually is great against Gun Viscous because comboing the Viscous himself is of course incredibly potent, but also you have a reliable disarm that sort of shuts down the Viscous. They go Warden though, prioing just that they need a gun carry themselves, so maybe they just feel like, hey, we got to get this Warden up early. But Warden unpicked so far in the day, uncontested fully, I believe, so far in the day. So interesting a bit. Abraham's been a team that, like, once again, has never been afraid to do what others are scared to do or pick heroes that others aren't picking.
You were looking to
I
summon
think this is a
god, right?
really nice win for
here I am.
Leviathan because, okay, that is a Sanya hero. Abraham's going to be putting Sanya on the Warden, but the only reason why the Warden is coming in now and didn't come in last game is that they had the Viscous off the earlier pick. And I think between the two heroes right now, like, yes, Warden can be fearsome when he gets farmed. You would much rather deal with a Warden than deal with a kitted out Gun Viscous. I think Gun Viscous is a far larger threat. But Leviathan, they're still going to go here, Jake, with is likely to be, the more spirit support oriented Ivy. It's likely going to be what Flammable is picking.
Wouldn't mind the
in this
Geist.
game.
Wouldn't mind the Geist closeout here. I mean, I still think that I know Ivy Geist lost to the Bebop Abrams last game. I still think this lane is really strong in the mid, and I hope they go back to it, especially against Warden. I think it fits really well. Yeah, the Hell swap for Geist could be perfect against a Warden. I think Abraham still has a lot of good tools, but I think you're right. I think Leviathan have found good adjustments and given themselves a much stronger overall draft this game. There's a lot of diverse win conditions, and their drafts are also pretty potent, but I feel like there's a much better fighting chance here for Leviathan, and maybe that's all they need.
Ready to do some field testing.
What?
Wow.
Whoa, okay. Production, can we get
Curiosity?
confirmation that wasn't a fat finger? Is that actually McGinnis? Like,
gotta be.
Don't mess with us.
I mean,
Is that real?
If we're just being hard grief, that would be crazy, but that is confirmed
It's real.
I think McGinnis Warden is low-key a crazy lane in the side lane. It takes towers. I think it's the fastest tower taking lane in the game. I think Warden, it feels like he has one of the best gun DPS in the game for clearing creeps and towers in the early game. McGinnis has to be number one. I mean, that gun is completely absurd. So if they're able to like get a playable lane off, like you wall people into the trap, you take away their stamina with the alchemical flask. There's the heal. There's so much power to be able to siege lanes. I think Warden McGinnis is a goated side lane, and I'm very curious to see how Saint plays this. I assume this is the
it is going to be Saint. It has to be Saint because the last time I think we saw McGinnis played really well, it was Saya with melee creeps. I was playing McGinnis as like full
I thought it was legit
heal.
good. I think it's
it
legit
was
very good. Like I think McGinnis is actually underrated maybe because of how sick it is in a team play environment. When that heal gets maxed out and you're like fully kitted on the heal, the heal covers like the entire pit when you're sieging, or like you're on the mid boss. It covers the entire mid boss pit, and it's so incredibly hard to fight into once it's fully leveled. So the support value from McGinnis here to assist players like Billy and Warden to like man fight into their opposition. Even Viscous could be in a little bit of trouble here. It's sort of an awkward matchup for Viscous at times, with the wall being able to trap you and deny some of your escape paths.
Man, oh man. So Abraham's, it's been an interesting day. You got Sanya playing for Land Cafe, and you got a little bit McGinnis on the menu. Leviathan versus Abraham's. Can Leviathan bring Abraham's to a map 3 2 weeks in a row? Or does it end with McGinnis just being McGood? Jake, we're about to find out.
All right, time to see how Lash and Paradox, a more conventional mid lane, fare against the Geist Ivy. For now, Geist Ivy just playing this one very safe. They don't really want to trade damage with heroes. They just want to focus on clearing waves, clearing lane. Ivy takes a first level in stone form though and puts a bit of damage onto the Lash. So maybe they're going to have a different approach to this lane than I expected.
Yeah, we'll have to see. Also, we got some donations that came in the middle break. I'll be reading them out when we get a brief moment. But right now, it's starting off with a bang here, Jake. And the bang at the expense of McGinnis, who's down to half HP already. Facing what is honestly pretty fearsome poke between the Shiv and the Viscous.
Yeah, this is a lane that wants to get towards a few item buys before I think it's like sort of a genuine threat to the tower. Like, I also think, in fairness, Shiv Viscous is a very potent harassment lane, so it might be a little bit awkward for McGinnis and Warden to ever get to the point where they have the confidence to actually really siege towers and be a big threat.
Also, interestingly enough, in terms of lanes, the Geist Ivy ends up in the middle, and Holiday, who 9 times out of 10 ends up in your mid lane, is off into the left-hand side this time around. So, and it's flammable on the Holiday, overseas on Pocket. It's a lot of shift ups on who's playing what, and Empty Dreams, we didn't really talk about it. Empty Dreams lands on the Shiv. You talk about hero pool. How often is your Mina player your Shiv player?
Yeah, especially actually, is it Fremont on the Viscous is really interesting because Fremont has not really played the like hard farming carries for this team.
No, but Fremont also, he did go through a phase where Fremont was near exclusively a Viscous main. So I think that's why they've done all these swap ups on who is playing what. Because Fremont, you look at his game time, he has like 8 bajillion hours on Viscous. Even if it was back in the era where it was more spirit and not gun.
Man after my own heart. Holding in the side lane, struggling a little bit to trade at times with this Billy, who is a bit of a menace. Wall comes down, but it doesn't seem to be the most effective. Now McGinnis potentially being chased down, but Shiv, I don't think he's able to stick around too long into this one. As yeah, they're able to back up to the high ground with Wave crashing. Shiv and Viscus have to go back and retreat. I think McGinnis and Warden, though, they're playing to their win con. They really want to get towards those ultimates online before they really commit hard to siege a tower. I mean, ideally, you could do it a little bit earlier, but against Shiv Viscus, you're not in the ideal lane, right? You're already going to be just struggling to keep your HP up.
Yeah, I mean, just the damage you're taking from puddle splatter into knives if Shiv is landing them, it definitely makes it one more difficult lane to deal with. But also, you do have Healing Field out of McGinnis, so the healing does mitigate some of the poke coming in here. You know, it's not going to deal with all of it, but it does make it a little bit more sustainable. And you know, the scary thing about this lane too, if they get an advantage, your tower's gone. It is unbelievable amounts of gun damage.
Actually,
as Shiv is in real danger.
Yeah, they need to get this kill on the Warden. It would be a big kill to find. They do shut him down, but here comes Lash, roaming into this one, gets the counter kill right back. Puddle punch away now from Fremont. Should potentially pull him out of trouble there. Yeah, you don't want to dive under the Guardian this early in the game. But the Warden kill is a nice shutdown to find, right? Sonya's your farming carry. I don't think it really changes too much, but oh, he is going to come back towards mid.
Yeah, so this is a new home for Lash. Lash has just said, yep, I'm going to be the better duo partner here, and Warden ends up in middle, though Lash is also, you got a double field trip potentially towards mid here, Jake. Billy was heading towards mid, Lash thinks better of it, but you got 3 for Abrahams here in mid on rotation, looking for Geist Ivy.
Yeah, Lash just doing some box running, but him being off the map itself is just a huge implicit threat. Nice parry, though. And the big heavy counter melee is just slamming down into together. And he is just down for the count, man. One parry, you just become feeding. More of this guy's Ivy is standing in that Ivy status pit. And even the kill comes in from Overseas rotating. It's a party lane in the mid. Huge rotations from Leviathan, and actually pretty decisive victory for them here in the mid lane.
Yeah, Leviathan looking good. Wait, the rotations may not be over yet. Take a look at
ready. But they read this one, and now Mina even sent packing. So all together, really nice plays.
Yeah,
from
things
Leviathan,
getting a little bit hectic.
Dealing with an active Abrahams, and Nemo even has the Nox Nostra, so he kind of spent all this time for nothing. Although Constellation Prize could be the buff. Pocket here, though, looking to contest. Doesn't have affliction. I think this is going to be pretty disfavored against him. He does make it down into the pit.
Oh,
Together's like, no, bro, this is for me. I'm the frontliner.
Billy getting a vitality is tragic. Not quite as tragic as a Shiv getting it, but still pretty brutal. You know, of course, done from the Lover's Quarrel, providing a little bit more room, but OC's back in mid, lands the bomb onto Tass, creates a little bit more room as Hoot is back in middle, going here, Death Slam off into the tower. Geist has no swap here, so she's vulnerable. Low HP is OC's, parry comes out, as OC's gonna be able to get away. Bomb comes out, actually not scared at all. Ivy in onto Lash. Lash gets healed a little bit towards the end, but no, not enough to stay alive as you got the rotation for Tass back in the lane off death. Maybe he can get something here, but this is getting all sorts of hectic, Jake.
An absolute brawl here in the side lane as well. Viscus looking to get up for an active move here, but a parry wasted now and some heavy melees coming in against Saint. He's got that battle vest making him tanky, but Sonya does not want to stick around, right? There's an execute here you've got to worry about here in the side lane. And, I mean, activity has risen to an all-time high. Leviathan are just fighting tooth and nail for this early game, and they've come away with a reasonable soul advantage, especially with a ton of farm being funneled to OCs, who is going to get that Radiant regeneration online with his next bot.
Ivy getting hit with a bit of poke damage down the half HP. Mid Guardian, the objective here between Hoot and Tass, but airdrop has been used, and suddenly Tass in all sorts of danger. Goes for the carbine wall, trying to live against the odds, gets a swap for a little bit extra, 100 HP, and a dream. Might be able to break LS, but no, Obakim able to get the last bit of damage there, Jake.
This is so big. OC is getting fed a ton of kill participation in the early game, which is exactly what you need on guys to start that snowball rolling and really just swarm through the jungle. McGinnis now fulfilling some of that promise with the tower pressure, and I think it's going to be Guardian going down with the wall behind. I don't know what you're going to do about this one. Yeah, Warden and McGinnis happy to take that. Diving forwards the Shiv, but bites off way more than he can shoot into Taz's waiting arms, and now even Viscus in huge trouble. Pretty much dead to rights here.
Yeah, you're not living out of there from the cube, and that's a danger of the Warden McGinnis is that you get an advantage, and the gun damage is overwhelming. Easily going to cut through the Guardian. And now Tess in on the rotation, back over the mid. Mina in mid along with Lash. And this is during a chase down here onto Obakim. Obakim lower HP, able to get far enough behind to not have it turn the disaster, but it's an overload of 3 right now for Abrahams into mid. Leviathan though, rotating some of their own here in response. Puddle punch out. Tess once more, the priority target, a punch from behind. And now looking for just a little bit extra. Here comes the ball, but gets a little bit gummed up. Still gets McGinnis towards the end, knocks Astra in over the top. Taz finally going to fall. And was some relentless pressure in from Leviathan as they try and maintain control of mid. Lasso though off on the side here sends Hoot to Doom.
Absolute dogfight in the early game, but in all the chaos, Tower's still up here for Abraham. So, you know, in the end of the day, you're feeling pretty good about this McGinnis as she moves forward to claim her second victim of the game. Yes, the mid Guardian now on the card, just completely ignoring the Viscous, and I mean, that's 2k damage on the Guardian. Now trying to run Shiv, Viscous on the chase down. This should be a kill on this McGinnis. She able to get over the high ground, maybe, but execute is good here for Empty Dreams. How to deploy that ultimate, which isn't super ideal. Viscous also cubed in a compromising position.
Middle has just been, you know, you talk about people saying, hey, could they ever add an ARAM mode to the game? We got Abram right here on Night Shift. It has just been non-stop here in middle. Both teams throwing haymakers. Abraham's getting the better from that rotation. They're real close now, Jake, to getting this middle Guardian.
Yeah, it feels like it's going to go down with the next major push. McGinnis probably willing, in a way, to throw her life away for some heavy damage on the Guardian, some good pressure on the opponent mid laners. That's the value of this hero, right? You're willing to take those risks in the early game. Taz on the side lane finds himself in trouble with low stamina. And, I mean, the pressure split elsewhere. This time, Flammable gets the better of the trade, although behind the tower is not in the place you want to be against Billy and Ward.
Jake, this was a good trophy collector game. That's what I'm realizing right now. Like, it's just been non-stop. There's been no breather. I've been waiting to read out a donation for the last 5 minutes, and there's no time here, Jake, with what's been going on. Back in the middle, it's still heating up. Shiv, low HP. D-Mob looking to finish it off. Is it gonna be enough? Yes, it is. The rank from behind. D-Mob gets it and picks up Freemock to boot. 2 to the Mina.
Finally, the tower to be claimed. Paradox steps up, but Pocket's right back in this. He wants to keep this trade cycle going. But I think that Abrahams are healthy enough. They win this trade eventually in the mid. McGinnis tanky here. I don't know if you want to take this fight, OTs. You might have a net worth advantage, but it's not that meaningful. And fighting inside the McGinnis heal with support coming in. It's a tall order for even the strongest of heroes.
Abrahams, as some of the smoke is cleared, getting a small edge. One difference though, okay, off the stun on the jump pad, Tass once more is just find himself continually pressured. Able to perhaps get away from that at 500 HP. Airdrop from
Barrow coming in.
Ominous brings him low. Lasso. Gets stuck for a moment, but the barrel finally connects towards the end, as well as the $50 donation from Cry Santa 14. Is that I'm reading that right, or am I butchering it? I don't know,
That
Jake.
sounds right. That's the best I could do, ZP. Thanks for the $50 going into that prize pool. This is shaping up to be a massive night shift, as this is shaping up to be an absolutely massive brawl of a game. McGinnis just trying to get the urn, trying to do some honest objectives. Kills starting to come in, though, and I can't help but feel that the cracks beginning to show for Leviathan in this very active early game. Saint has claimed a couple key Guardians. Still, Guardians very healthy and alive, although Ivy can test the urn now. These things are going to get a little bit wild and wacky, but with Warden having that side wave pushed up, this definitely favors Abrahams.
It is actually Obakim versus the world. It's a 3-on-1, and the most you can do here is slightly interrupt. Stone form there. Freemock is coming in off the zip, but it's going to be Freemock in the same situation. It's just a quick dunk. Sorry, Viscous, you don't get to delay the urn quite the same way anymore. And you see Freemock going, yeah, I'm at half HP. I'm not going there. There's no point for me to go there. Another Guardian the way of Abrahams, firmly solidifying their advantage now, Jake.
And both Billy and Mina sent packing from the side lane, but Billy just doesn't have the mobility to escape out as he's forced to turn and fight. But against a pocket, it seems to be an inevitability. The Spirit Nuke's coming in. Flammable finishes the job. Lashalty, though, big damage. Gets a full connection, and that's enough to just pull first overseas from max HP. Flammable trying to get out of this, playing on this holiday movement. Some trickish movement, but yeah, it's just not enough. D-Mob gets that love bite to clean up the kill.
D-Mob is sneakily starting to get ahead of this game, by the way. It's been D-Mob killing blow after killing blow.
Yeah.
Now at 13k, more fed than even Sanya, who usually is the one absorbing all the farm. But, you know, this is the closest I think we're going to get to having a moment to talk about some of the other donations that came in. We got Sigkun dropping $10. Big benefit to Sigkun there. And then we got Neas dropping a $30 donation saying gun goop less than gun ivy is what we got from this. And there's folk with the $6. All to the prize pool. Thank you guys so much. And as I swap back in, see Taz going for a ride here off the lasso, Jake.
They were so close to killing Empty Dreams, and Taz just had to chase. He couldn't give this one up. Gets the Guardian Ward, and and a parry on Flammable. There could be a chance for a turnaround, not to be, and now it's, oh my god, it's a death brawl in the tiny room. Ivy happy to take this fight, but McGinnis can give it right back. Has that wall deploy if you want to stick around a little bit too long here. McGinnis pumping that damage in, but so too is Pocket here, who comes in from the behind rather. The barrier knock here sends McGinnis packing. She's really low HP. Does have the Guardian Ward to try and play this one out. And Obikim running out of steam. The support's now brawling, the true 1v1, but here comes D-Mob, Big Daddy on the Mina. Wants to get some of these cleanup kills. Who loves an active game more than Mina? And D-Mob happy to be able to find some cleanup. Saint does drop. And a miss Nox Nostra means this is probably the end of that fight.
Oh, also, like things getting a little bit messy as Shiv, especially as the game goes deeper. And you're talking about income allocation. The other person that's been getting nice and rich, and you talked about it a little bit earlier, is that the middle lane was rather generous to OCs. OCs at 15K, and, you know, Geist stays good all game long. It's one of the heroes you want to be rich. 76K, 67K, and, you know, even with Abraham's getting the earned advantage, you know, some of that has fallen a little bit away here, Jake, off of...
Tragedy.
You know, it happens.
That is the ultimate tragedy as a carry player, is missing the center attack last hit. He even waited one more cycle to guarantee it. Missed it up. It happens to the best of us. It happens to the best of us. He's getting all 3 value spikes online. Has a warp stone now to be able to close some of those gaps and get some cheeky life swaps. But I mean, Abraham's not backing down in this pace. They have a lot of players around the mid lane. I do think this is a moment where it's sort of interesting for Saint. Like, this is a challenging spot to make decisions as McGinnis, because it's not super obvious to me what you do once the 3 Guardians are down. You know, play those first 3, Flowchart Gaming, no problem. But now that the Walker Siege is online, it feels like a little bit more awkward to play around the McGinnis. Holiday taking a huge amount of damage. He's going to get out through the teleporter, but Nemob's going to commit for the chase down and try and clean this one up.
Well, the jump pad kind of reveals where you went. Wait, still on it. Still waiting for the rake. Barrel comes out the other way. Love bites. Rake dead.
1,200
Demov on the chase. Finds it. Finishes it. And Demov, you know, again, you look at the trajectory. Looking good. Meanwhile, Death Slam after the swap. OC's no swap. Committed and immediately gets thrown back. And now you can dive this Geist fearlessly. There's no swap to defend, and OC's next to fall. And with how farmed OC's is, that's a long nap time, Jake. 30 seconds at 15 minutes.
Yeah, Sonya on the Warden has just done a fantastic job of keeping that right lane super healthy, right? McGinnis, Warden in that lane, they just have never really taken tower pressure. And that healthy Guardian has led to the enemy Walker now being down to half. An attempted earn drop from Saint here. This surely is too much, though. I mean, in enemy territory, maybe they just feel like, hey, with this earn change, you can go for it no matter what. But this is a huge risk to take. I remember last game, this was a comeback moment for Leviathan. Swap as well onto Obikim, as well as the Nox Nostra silencing him. Already used that stone form. Trying to just slip away, but Demov way too mobile to let that one get by him.
Yo, she's going for it. Fast break from McGinnis. Flammable's down. Okay, do you go for it?
Oh, there's warp stone. They can't quite get the connection to drop the urn out of Saint's hands, and he might have overextended now into a fight.
That is a McGinnis in quick retreat, but that was nearly grabbing it. Also, D-Mob is still farming up the scraps in this fight that's been kind of scrappy and all around. It's another pickoff for D-Mob, now turning his attention more in onto the Walker. So yeah, you don't get the earn, but off the distraction, you're able to push up middle, get serious damage onto the mid Walker. On a macro level, you're liking where this has gone so far from the Abraham side.
Yeah, they've even cleared up the side Walker at the same time. Mid Walker is like one wave crash, and a single hero is going to be able to finish off that mid Walker. So it's a really meaningful amount of damage. Obikim is going to try and dive under this tier 1 and maybe try and clean it up, but it's so risky. And yeah, together there, it would have been a risky play. Lasso in mid, though, a great catch on a Lash. It's a really dream character to find first. However, this is a Lash we're talking about with the vitality buff as well, and he's not even in serious danger there, man. With the McGinnis healing field, there's no chance of them sticking around for that one. Oh, this is a fun spot. If he has ulti, man, like, you just can't walk up in mid, like, ever. I don't know how you ever clear this position. The Holiday Lasso is probably one of the only threats you really have to respect as Lash.
Oh, the hyper line!
Oh, it's done, man. That's OC's down. This is your most farmed hero. Luckily, there's enough of a net worth advantage for Abraham's where you don't have that respawn penalty on OC's, but that just speaks to how potentially out of control this game has already gotten.
That is rough. As yeah, I mean, that the upside. Hey, the bad news is you died. The good news is you get to be dead for less time because of how bad you're getting demolished. It's like, oh, cool, thanks.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
That's how that all makes a difference. But I mean, look at the activity on mid, man. It's just this Abraham squad is all over the map. They're keeping such pressure. Every time they send a wave out on the right lane, they immediately bring more players and just look for any fights, any kill opportunities that they can get. And it seems that they found just that. Holiday, though, hold on, dodges away from a couple powerful ultimates. Empty Dreams can't do the same. Pocket with a 5-man affliction. Okay, this could actually be a fight, maybe, if Leviathan can bring the numbers. But there's 2 players who have no chance to get to this fight.
In the fight out of the Veil, Dimov used it for cover. Overseas. Getting hit on the rougher end of it here.
Oh,
of all things, just the flash gun damage. I think it may have been, was that a headhunter proc towards the end? It
I don't
might
even
have
think it was
been.
a headhunter probably. I think it was just a mystic shot that finished him off. But I guess Lash had already dumped his full kit. Obakid was, I mean, hey, that's the patch, man. The old Urn resistance, he would have gotten out of that one. Now, guy, maybe is it all for nothing? Guy's trying to do the Urn drop, trying to slip past, but Mina is contesting the Urn.
Does Dimov actually stop it? All 3 rejuves have gone the way of Abraham's, and the Urn is still not in the hands of Leviathan. It is Dimov that's been doing God's work off on the left-hand side. Finally, OC's gets the Urn turned in, but the fact that Dimov merely stole that is ridiculous as the chaos continues in the middle. Hoot looking for another victim, finding Flammable with the aid of Together, as Abraham's truly is putting themselves in a winning spot.
I'm gonna be so for real right now. I did not even know they were doing mid boss. Abraham's all over the map right now. This is just smothering Leviathan. And I mean, Leviathan brought the pace in the early game, and Abraham said 2 can play at this game. Dimov finds another kill onto Freemock, and I mean, I still think there's a game to be played here for Leviathan, but the vibes are not good for Leviathan right now. Abraham's is just fully running this game in complete control. McGinn is sieging this Walker, daring somebody to contest, but Dimov is just cutting them off at the heels here. He's like holding the base, denying any minions from even getting to this Walker defense.
All right, Dimov, who has been man of the hour in this game, just the Mina where I think prac to game 1 where Empty Dreams looked really good on the Mina. It was a solid Mina play where he didn't die. Dimov, meanwhile, has just been the one making plays, getting pick-off after pick-off, and again, just nearly having a massive hero play to get the Urn on top of Abraham's taking other macro objectives. Oh god, the RNG
Again?
just, yep.
Second time today, a super farmed Mina just gets a spirit buff at the perfect moment. Freemock also very deep down this side lane. I think Dimov just didn't realize he was there. Could have gone for that kill. He's getting ganked mid, solo 1v3. I mean, surely that's too crazy, right? But no, he's going in. And they're running from him. They're respecting this. They know they can't really fight this Mina. This is the power of the Dimov Mina. Maybe a Mina in the current patch. Holiday just running for the hills.
I like the part where you get the slowing hex on the Mina in that fight. It means absolutely nothing. He's just like, well, I was playing moving anyways. I'm still gonna keep
He's like holding
it.
the debuff remover. He's like, I don't need that. I'm chilling. Last stand force from Warden. The ball is a little bit late from Viscous. Doesn't get to cancel that ultimate. And Viscous has no spirit damage in this build. He is not really a threat. I believe he's got Viscous. And Warden just pumping in big damage. Has lost the rejuve and could actually end up falling again after this.
Ivy. Up close personal ability, never where you want to be. OC's still here, still has swap. Doesn't really want to use it here. This would be rough. It's forced out here. Also, other side of the fight, Dimov continuing to clean up. Great HP, another pick. And now look at the take Pocket's head right off. Overseas, not much left to go. Taken down as no one can really deal with Dimov at the moment, Jake.
Dimov is just running the table on them here. He tries to bait the swap out there. I like what he's attempting, but even the swap, I just don't think it's going to do enough here. Yeah, he lets it come. He's like, no respect for that guy. He's just going to take a quick reset down mid. And I mean, this spirit buff has been huge considering the activity of the game so far.
I kind of want to go back and compare the amount of total kills in this game, though, relative to the other EU games, because this has felt
This is a
like 3 times the action.
All of the sick moves from Hoot. The backwards corner strafe. Mad respect, mad respect. Backwards air strafe is a, you know somebody plays Source games when they hit those.
Oh, yeah. Well, also the people that go in here and just immediately air strafe like gods, it's just like, yeah, you know, I've done a little bit of Source in my time. I played a little bit TF2. You got, I think it's Leaf who still has some of the absolute best movement videos around. When you go to Deadlock, just, he goes like, oh, you could just move at Mach 5 and no one realized. That's pretty cool. But now a 30,000 soul difference here, Jake. And the win conditions for Leviathan, they're slim.
Yeah, you just don't have like the dominating team fight ultimates on the other side. Together but a curse on Billy. I mean, this is just bullying at this point. OC's down. Taz found that one. McGinnis just farming it up on the other side of the map, clearing waves, doing the honest work of wave janitor. It's actually kind of the perfect role for McGinnis. But, I mean, you can't really leave your base, so you got to send somebody back. You know, even Sonya securing the late game as well. Another swap, this time onto Flammable. Just looking for something, anything, trying to find a lasso, and instead he just gets swapped and bursted down.
Dimov is so rich that he's been able to provide for DoorDash there, just getting swapped in.
Oh, big
Death
kill.
Slam!
That's exactly what he wanted to find. Pocket just has to use Cape to get out. Oh, he tried to even slam down that Ivy. That could have been a very real threat if he caught that. Glass cannon spot by Fremont and Sonya, but yeah, it's a nice Vortex web, but it's just not enough. There's no damage, there's no genuine follow-up here. Hoop just styling on him, hitting from all sides. And has that next ground slam available with Vlog. You better get out of this one sooner rather than later. And they will get out, but it's going to be back to the spawn. Not the preferred way to retreat in Deadlock.
I feel like we've had a brawl across the entire game. It started in mid lane and now is still in mid lane, just at the base instead. Cube comes out, but OCs is in real danger. No swap, no HP, a lot of problems. Dimov once more, pick up another 2. Every killing blow seemingly heading the way of Dimov, who is insatiable.
They're toying with him. Flammable goes down, this time to the Headhunter proc. And yeah, there's shrines at a patron. The game's not technically over, but this beatdown has been immense. I mean, the Leviathan do find a couple counter kills there. But this is one of those rare moments where we actually see a team willing to take the fight to the opposition in the base, even without a region.
It feels like they're hanging out. It almost feels like a lower level pub game to an extent.
Sure,
this
feels like a pub, actually. It feels so chaotic. I feel like both teams are just running it down, full sending it, which I kind of respect. I mean, I think that Leviathan played that early game super aggressive, fearlessly, and it actually looked really good for them. Echo Shard bot here. What do you buy Echo Shard? Do you buy just double ground slam? Or double, I supposed to be ground slam, right?
For what?
For Echo Shard? I don't think it would be Flog, right? Because I think that ground slam is where the real damage is.
We can get the check-in. We can get the observer check-in what it is. But yeah, I mean, I would expect ground slam, but ground slam has a pretty low cooldown.
Yeah, I don't know if I've like ever seen this item bot on Lash.
No, this feels like a bit of trolling. I'm gonna be honest.
Swap onto the Holiday once again. Taz is just sending it on the opposition every time, and oh, Flammable. Oh, he just can't get away. Affliction on the Lash plus the health swap, and okay, Echo Shard's not gonna save you from that one, buddy. Cube already used now, and now Demon starting to profit in this fight. Although Fremont, hold on, the gun damage is real. You got to put some respect on this. OCs. Fremont quietly farmed up in this game.
Who needs to be patched up?
Support items available for Saint, but he doesn't seem to see a way back into this fight.
Mid-boss is about to be back up. If Leviathan can turn another kill here, they can't. They run into Ward and Sanya. Still plenty farm to do some damage. 3 down for Leviathan. But if they could somehow turn it would be huge. Mid-boss is on the agenda. There's no swap for the Geist. OCs, absolutely no recourse. It's getting run down by 3. Leviathan, only Overseas and Fremont still alive. And the rest of Abraham's are still alive. They're going to drop some turrets and feel real comfy as they try and secure mid-boss. And okay, you're getting Urn for Overseas. What does Urn do for you in this situation?
Yeah, it may just be the best you can do in this situation. Fremont is here, though. He's looking to get some counter kills. Taz is actually getting caught, potentially. If you're able to kill Taz before the crystal drops, it would be huge. And more players coming in. I mean, just continuing to play this game as it's been played so far, and the wall secure as well from Saint. Taz even gets out alive. Fremont, though, wisely backs out of that kill. Losing your Viscus here would have been probably game-ending, and surely Pocket should get this dunk in. Yeah, he will be able to get the finish.
That was closer than it should have been for turning that in. I'm gonna look at that as like, wait, surely you don't get interrupted on top of that. Zipline mind games, the ground slam, or as it were, and you know it's not required to take down Flammable, as it turns out. And if you're not hearing boss music, you probably should. We're watching D-Mob's point of view, 37K Mina, who has been running the game, Jake, the last 15 minutes or so.
Yeah, you know when you buy the Spiritual Overflow on Mina, you're like running out of things to buy. You're going to get the Tank Buster as well. I mean, just to maximize the power spike for this base siege. We're looking at a 35k soul lead, triple reach for Abrahams. The only thing they don't have is all their team fight ults, but with a player down, it feels like this is too good of an opportunity to waste, and they will pounce on Empty Dream, standing outside of the base on unwise position here. Leviathan doing what they can to try and hold this one down. It's pretty much just Remuck to try and make this defense. So the viscous damage is pretty respectable right now. Even D-Mob has to be a little bit careful with his position. Knocks Nostra over the top, putting his silence down onto Obakim, but no real threat for the kill there. The damage roll isn't that realistic. And whoa, that damage pop. Oh my god. OCs, that was a half health carry. And he just got popped by a rake. 3 players on the deck. Shrines going down. And Abraham looking to close this one out in style.
First stage patron is down as D-Mob continues to be unhinged. And yeah, I mean, OC's got popped with before he could even swap there. It was just way more damage than expected. Together might have gone down in full, but 2 rejuves still up for Abrahams. They're not showing any signs of retreat. They're looking to be your champion once more. A win streak that continues strong, and this time around, they don't drop a map. It is Abrahams once more, the kings of EU.
What you deserve.
McGinnis does it again. I gotta say, McGinnis looks pretty good right now, ZP. I feel like people haven't been playing it, but it looks legit, man. It looks hard to fight in the mid game. When you play around the heal, it gives you that objective tempo. It ups the threat from your carries. Really well played by Saint and Abrahams. I mean, just a stylish victory, a well-deserved, flexing not only their heroes, their style, being willing to play stuff that nobody else does, and they're staying the kings of EU, looking to continue to hold that position for quite some time. This is Sonya on an internet cafe, but you wouldn't have known it given the way he played. I mean, a great performance on Viscous in game 1, the Warden, rock solid carry in game 2. Star of the show, though, for me, was probably Hoot. I mean, the Lash in this game was the perfect hero for like an ultra active, constantly fighting match. I also think Taz, honorable mention. I mean, ridiculous performance game 1, crushed the lane on Bebop, snowballed from there. And then game 2, the Paradox, I mean, Flammable just couldn't play the game, honestly, towards that late game. Once Paradox was able to just like hunt him down every time he looks for a pick, he's just swapped in and killed.
It was the most aggressive game we've seen by both sides in a really long time. I mean, there was not really moments of calm. Then you know, the person that did generate a little bit of calm for Abrahams via the pure power of just death was D-Mob towards the end, as D-Mob put on a ridiculously dominant performance on Mina. I mean, realistically, there are 2 winners here out of this game here, Jake. Winner number 1 was Abrahams, and winner number 2 are all the haters that want Mina nerfed. They got a lot of primo footage in this game to just bring over to Discord, bring the Reddit, and go, Yoshi, end her.
Mina does look a little bit broken right now. I mean, every Mina game so far has been pretty dastardly, so incredibly well played for sure for Abrahams getting this win locked up. And I mean, I don't know what you can. I mean, Leviathan looked so competitive last week. It looked a lot better, but this week I feel like you poked the bear, and Abrahams came back a lot stronger. And you know, we're able to even double down in game 2. That Leviathan kind of started that ARAM train, and Abrahams are like, "You want an ARAM? Well, let's ARAM." Hoot, 41k player damage. I mean, even a little bit more than D-Mob. So 2 of the prime heroes, I think, in the meta for that like ultra active early game are your spirit nukers, right? In Lash and Mina.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the stats here. Once more, I think the overwhelming advantage of Abraham is obvious, but you gotta do an item audit here. And again, the cult is not looking as strong as it once looked like. And wait, am I looking at this correctly? Is there not a single cult to sacrifice for Abrahams this game? I don't think there is. And, you know, no getting baited by Heroic Aura this time, Jake. Be my second pair of eyes. I'm not seeing a cultist at all.
I don't see it either. They have 2 Heroic Auras, actually. The Heroic Aura is beginning its ascent. And only Fremont has the cultist this game, which you honestly wonder, like, was it even effective? So it's just incredibly interesting to see the meta shift this quickly in real time. You know, we see a lot more presence from like spirit carries and nukers. Even Warden, like, not going the full gun build, right? Like teching into the spirit value investment, which we often haven't seen recently for the Warden builds. And also some, you know, interesting building from Saint, right? Like just a lot of utility, a lot of value, which is really, I think, why you play McGinnis hero, right? Because you can bring all this utility and value. And meanwhile, he's top objective damage in the game. I mean, that's like, this is not a heavy gun investment in McGinnis where you would expect to do a lot of damage. Like, it's kind of impressive that he's doing that much objective killing. Well, then again, maybe no one else on Abrahams was interested in shooting towers. They were too busy killing players. Yeah, 53 to 27 ZP. Holy shit. It's an 80 kill game. That has to be way higher than normal.
Okay, wait, we can do this. I'm gonna look at we post draft screens in our own Discord, and you know, maybe we could go up and take a look here. Wait, they don't have the advanced draft screen. Can we get the advanced draft screen for the previous map? Because that was an 80 kill game across both sides. What was the last 2 games? Do we have the technology? I don't put production on the spot here, but if we do have the technology, I mean, just
last game was like
looking at it.
35-7 or something like that, which was a blowout. But the kill number is more. There's like almost double the kills of last game, which like that was the craziest game to cast I think I've ever watched in Deadlock, because that was just nonstop fighting from like minute 6 towards the end of the game. Like literally they even did mid boss without me realizing, because they're like actively team fighting in the opponent's base while taking mid boss.
That was the most burger boxing I think we've seen since going back to old school NA. This was game 1, 38-7. A similar game time, by the way, but also way less kills.
Yeah, it's absolutely wild. I'm definitely excited to see the meta open up in terms of the item buying, away from the cultists. I think this actually makes the game a lot more interesting from a build perspective. Gives a lot more freedom to players, which I know something that I think a lot of people who play Deadlock enjoy. The freedom to be a little bit more creative in terms of your build prio, and having an early item investment that you were almost always going for in the cultists be kind of open. That's 3,200 souls that are going to go a different direction now. Super interesting to me, and I'm kind of curious to see this meta continue to develop, and also what the NA team's take is on this big shift in the macro economy side of the game.
Also, we had a comment from Myrick, a longtime friend of the stream, came in on us in some of our Marvel Rivals co-streams, that I had done back in the past. I think still maybe doing some coaching in the game, but he was watching, says, hey, Surge of Power Warden, real good in the jungle right now. And that actually makes sense. If you're Warden clearing through camps, getting the extra damage from Surge, actually pretty solid on top of the fire rate. So if you're getting that now, it makes more sense. Like, Warden actually probably is jungling better, more than the norm, obviously, because everyone juggles better with 30% less. But, for Warden, who has AoE damage in his kit, probably gets an even better bump.
Yeah, definitely, and adds some mobility, too, is one thing we talked about in terms of the jungle speed. But that's enough dissection of the patch for now. We've got to introduce our MVP for the series. We can take a look and check out who got the honors for this Abraham's win. It's got to be D-Mob. I mean, this game, too, was about as good as it gets. 21, 2, and 15. This is insane kill participation. He is there. I mean, I would say he's there for every kill, but there were 53 kills. So that is a little bit much to ask for. Also had a huge performance on GT in game 1. Found a lot of these finishing blows with the Owl and managed to dance away. And I mean, this is a pick that, right, like a lot of players, it's like an off-meta pick. Not really anyone else is playing it. You bring out the GT and you just kind of crush what looked like a pretty cool draft from Leviathan. Then the Mina, much the same story. The Spirit nuking. I feel like at one point, right, wasn't D-Mob playing a little bit more of a supporting role and, like still fighting, but not really getting the econ. And I think Abrahams have wisely realized this is a guy you want to have economy. You want to really gamble on his ability to carry the game, because he's going to find that time and time again.
I think Mina is actually a match made in heaven for D-Mov, because the thing that D-Mov excels in as a player relative to most other players in the game, and yes, it has famously backfired on him a few times, but overall, D-Mov has this ridiculous sense of how to be aggressive, get a kill, and stay alive in the process. And that is the entirety of Mina's playstyle. That's how Mina is designed to push limits and get out of sticky situations with the lowest amount of HP possible, but still getting it done. And you combine D-Mob's game sense with the current power of Mina, and we saw in the last game, it is a brutal combination, Jake.
Yeah, definitely a well-deserved victory for Abrahams. D-Mob putting on a show for us, and Abrahams, I think, really delivering a secured victory across the roster. Saint with the flexibility, Hoot with those tempo fightings, I mean, getting insane damage in game 2, D-Mob with the massive carry, and of course the entire cast ensuring that it's locked down, together. Sonya, no slouches in their own right, and Taz with the catches. So Abrahams looking like top dogs, looking like one of the best teams in the world. Definitely a squad that is hoping for more challengers to come up, whether from EU or from abroad, and potential future LAN events that Deadlock hopefully will have soon. So definitely an exciting team to watch. And also I want to give a shout out to all the viewers for sticking with us through the EU matches. Up next, we are going to have the NA games. And ZP, I got to ask, what are you excited for in NA? Is there any, what do you think is going to be the NA reaction? Given the level of burger boxes we just saw in that last game, if you think about the spawn timer has been reduced, it does kind of enable that hyperactive playstyle, which could be interesting to see the NA's take on.
I kind of want to see the role reversal here, where EU devolves to the burger box and NA just becomes the dignified reach, and we're just like,
I will farm,
no.
Actually, there's plenty of jungle for me to clear, guys.
Exactly. I'm excited too to see if Ido's internet has recovered in time, or his power grid, as it were. I think there's a funny side story there. A little bit. Ido can also really aura farm. If melee creeps lose because Ido's not there, you'd be like, well, the streak, of course, it ends, but I'm not here. So there's a bunch of funny stories there if Ido's power doesn't recover. So we'll see how that one ends up.
Yeah, we've got a competitive challenger match and then an attempt for melee creeps to defend the throne, keep the streak going. It's all coming at you right after this. Just a short break, and we'll be right back with you.